Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our workshop in preparation for the December 11th regular scheduled meeting. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Here.
Ms. Frenchco. Mr. Malloy.
Here. Okay, we got kind of a full agenda here. We'll get through some of the minor things as quick as we can. Then we got quite a few things at the end to go over. So we'll start out. Anyone else need agendas? Please print some more. Anybody need any? Raise your hand if you want agendas. You can print them.
We'll print a few more.
Yeah, print about 10, Lisa, if you can. 8. Okay, item number 1, dispense with the reading of the minutes. 2, approve the bills. Number 3 is a resolution for McDonald's ambulance. I think that's the 9th or 10th ambulance we bought.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yep, so if we could reach out to McDonald.
I think that I have to look, but I think I sent them an email.
I got a thank you from somebody via text, but we should reach out to their mayor or their fire chief, see if they want to be here for presentations. Yes.
Yeah, I've discussed it with Mayor Lewis and he was very excited about it. We didn't mention anything about coming in, but
Yeah.
I can extend the.
You want to do that? You
Yeah.
want to extend that, Commissioner? Okay. Then we have Village of West Farmington. We got money for their ball fields. And that was $34,000.
Also sent an email to Murphy or to my county auditor. I also sent an email to Mayor.
Okay. I think it's one of the only ones that the village got, so. We're welcome to be for that. Mecca Township, they are sending trustee Galvincia. And Mecca Township got $175,000. They're putting it towards their
Town hall
Yes.
that we're going to, but the portion of this is actually, again, Mark the other the portion of this is for the child care part. So it's, we were able to, and Julie, she can't care, but Julie being put a lot of work.
Okay, so that we're glad to make that happen. I talked to trustee Clemson, she's teaching, of course, so Representative Gal Bency will be here, you received the check. St. Vincent de Paul Society, that happened awfully quick. Thank you for that, Martha.
Thank you, Mark.
Martha, I'm gonna tell you that also a lot of the things that they worked very hard, very fast.
That was something that we overlooked. I made it right last week, and Mauro, if you can reach out to your friend over there and see if he can be here,
I will do that.
that would be great. We have Warren Amateur Radio Association. This is kind of a unique one. It was small, it was less than $6,000, but for what they requested, it's gonna go a long way. Should something happen catastrophe wise, you know, the grid goes down, these are the type of people that are gonna step up and we will make sure they're prepared for natural disasters, just in case that should ever happen. So I'm happy we're able to do that. And at the end of the meeting, we'll go over some of the other ones we've got. We'll reevaluate where you are. We got a couple in waiting, 2 more I think they're working. No, that doesn't.
Well, we'll talk about it when we get there, but no, there's some things with.
Okay, do that then.
Rather than not.
Okay, then we get to number 13. Approved memorandum of understanding between 911 and us. This is just to carry out the ARPA request that we already had, JC, to make sure that it's obligated by the end of the year, and then we can buy, we can go and purchase the equipment after.
Right, the equipment cost is a little bit less than what was originally approved, but just in case there's some extra expenses, this is tie up that money. Then, of course, if it doesn't cost that, remember that they can be allocated, those funds can be, residual funds can be allocated to another approved project.
Okay, after the first of the year.
It's that
after-
money tied up.
Good. Okay, number 14 is to amend the commissioner's regular meeting to accept the more professional design proposal submitted by Strollo Architects for Trumbull County Law Library. And this amendment
So when,
just adds an extra $1,630 to their,
what had happened, what this is, as we find these out, Mark, you're coming under, as we have gone through and reviewed some of these, and you'll have some more amendments next week. There's necessary, but as we go through these, we're finding some original ARPA resolutions, and then change orders were made, and there were resolutions for those change orders, but they were not, they didn't have the correct references to the ARPA. So we're trying to make sure all of our ARPA, official ARPA resolutions match what has been said. So this is one of those.
perfect.
And so is the next.
And then the next one is for Judge Rice's chambers, the windows. And that's an extra $1,115.
Okay.
So that's expected when we did this stuff a year ago.
Sure.
You know, we know prices are gonna go up. We can't control that, but
And just to mark your and just as a reminder, there were, the change orders were actually approved, but we had to have that extra little ARPA. Right? So these changes weren't things that were done without your approval. They were done, and this is just the people.
I'm just making a note. I had this conversation earlier, but for the public listening, our layers of protection on this ARPA funds are probably better than any other county in the state. When you look at what some other counties did, and I have looked at Carroll County and Geauga and Portage, their boards are just writing checks and mailing checks out. And I mean, there's no oversight. There's no running to buy an attorney first. They're just willy-nilly doing the checks. And it was brought up today that, you know, you have every county in America got some form of ARPA money. They would be chasing down the ARPA stuff forever. But doing our due diligence, we made sure our stuff is right. So we're not gonna face any type of repercussions, not that any county will, but we can take pride knowing we did it the right way. We did it by the rules the way we're supposed to.
But you never know, there could be findings for recovery against those other counties, and we don't have to worry about that because we hired legal counsel to represent us, and we followed it every step.
I was gonna say, and you listened to the council. That's what's.
Right.
That's just it.
So there are some people that said, oh, I'll just write a check anyway. I'll just do that. You know, we we set a standard with that, we gotta follow our own rules and all standards. Okay, and then we have, 17. Or no, I'm sorry, 16. And that is the conference room for the prosecutor's office. And amendments necessary to correct the funds being used to authorize renovation in Trumbull County into a modern conference room with remote conferencing capabilities amount of 30,000. And transfer 10,000 from a different fund and to appropriate accordingly. So that's just squaring up the conference room for the prosecutors. 17 is authorize the auditor to transfer unused fund appropriations to various other fund appropriations that are in need of monies to meet current expenses and to make additional appropriations as necessary, providing these transfers and additional appropriations fall within the amount certified by the county budget commission. Any input on that, Mark?
Martha, you're a Trumbull County auditor. We do this is an annual thing because we won't have enough meetings if there's things that we need to clean up at the end of the year, both 17
And 18 is authorize you to make any and all fund transfers as necessary to close out the year. Okay, 19 are transfer monies, Board of Health. 20 is Board of Health Sanitary Engineer. Sanitary Engineer is a big one. What do you have on that one? Bob?
Bob Myrano, Secretary Engineers. This was an on behalf payment, so when we do a project, we are now putting in the revenue and the expense at the same time. So to make my appropriations correct, I just increased appropriations, but it's a non-cash accounting transfer.
Okay. And Board of Elections, Martha, what do you know about that one?
Just a second, I just realized that I did not bring up.
I think we had an email from Christie. That's
Yes,
what
that's
I
what I'm
said.
gonna pull up the email. Board of Elections. Board of Elections is Bedford's data grant. That's for the additional appropriation for that. We already talked about sanitary engineer. Board of Health is the fiscal year 24 COVID-19 bridge vaccination grant. Moving to 21, Murphy or County Auditor, the transfer of appropriations, Board of DD, therapy and psych services, Board of Elections that holds $4.42 is increased license and permit costs. Central Court, the first one is increased telephone costs. The second one is the acting judge needed before the year end. Apparently, the judges having medical procedure and so substitute. So, common pleas, $4.54 increased operations supply costs. The next one is increased lease costs. The bigger one is increased office supplies and building repairs costs. Court of Appeals is increased public defenders costs. Second Court of Appeals is increased books and periodicals costs. The dog kennel is increased utility costs. Planning Commission, advertising, increased engineers costs on the other three. Of course, increase in equipment maintenance costs, increased office supply costs, updated payroll costs, increased building repair costs, increased office supply costs, increased attorney and consultant costs. I'm going to skip to the sheriff's fixing some over budget issues, veteran services, purchase shirts with the stamp with the logo, and you received all of this as well as the attachments. Bob, do you want to say?
Sure. Bob Myrano, Sanitary Engineers. We had in Fund 601, we did $175,178, and that was for Southeast District water breaks, our electric bill for our Deer Trail pump station, and most of it goes to our bulk water bill for the city of Niles. The $232,240 is also in Fund 601, and that is for repairs to the Howland water system Southeast District Water Repairs, Champion Water Repairs, the bulk water purchase in our Champion Water District, and bulk water purchases in Howland Water District. And the 128,000 is in our Metro Sewer District, and that's for a TV truck repair, Metro Sewer District repairs, and our bulk sewage costs.
Sheriff 3625.
I did that already, but that was the fix. Better services was.
All right, number 22, reappoint Sterling Williams as member of Western Reserve Port Authority for an additional 4-year term. He has been on the board since 2017 and became recommended pretty much by every board member and the staff there. They handled their deadline thing and he was unanimously recommended us to reappoint. And we want them to have a full board moving forward. They got a lot of crucial business to take care of right now. Concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant right-of-way permit requested by the companies listed. Spectrum Mid-America, 4 permits. To concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant special energy supplier fleet permit for aggregate, that's OK Brugman. That's rock and gravel. 25, change order number 1, final with cargo companies for the Bushnell Campbell Road Project, change order number 1, and finals for an additional 12,381, revising the amount to 337,257 to be paid from Trumbull County's ARPA fund. It's necessary to adjust the contract to reflect final quantities of the project, and that's per Gary Schaefer, Deputy Engineer. What township is that one in?
That's
That's Vernon's?
Yeah, that's Vernon's. So Mark, the Trumbull County Auditor, just, you'll also have the original, award, or resolution for the ARPA part of this. I don't want to call it an award because it's not an award. We're doing it through the county. But that original agreement was, I think, 407. Then the first bid came in a little bit came in low at like 335 or no, 325, something like that. And you guys approved that bid. Then the final, there was a couple change orders, or 8 change orders, sorry, and that brought it up to 337. I have already allowed for that difference between the original 408 and the 337. There will be a resolution next week on next week's agenda. I just got it yesterday. That actually we have to, although I've allowed for it on the spreadsheets, we have to formally return that money into the pot, which is, and what we'll do is because it's residual, it's easier if we just do a resolution that directs it to a specific project, and so it'll be directed to that stuff. But it's already been allowed for on the sheet.
We have our incoming engineer here, David Cristofaro. Dave, we've got a handful of ARPA projects that are initiated that we can brief you on as you get in. One of them, Bezetta Road. We've got a Mespo Road. We got a Vernon Township Road.
Vernon's done. This is the completion. Vernon is complete.
Okay.
Farming. There's a single road.
Do we have a culvert project in Fowler still too? Didn't we have one there?
No, we didn't do it that way. I think it might have been contracted to the engineers, office county engineers, but it wasn't done in the same way through that specific ORC provision.
Okay.
And it was ARPA funds, but it wasn't done.
Right. I'm just saying the ARPA funds wise, so you know what we initiated. Of course, you're gonna follow through with everything that's already there. The staff is gonna continue on. You're retaining some of the staff there. So if you have questions on that, feel free to ask or get with the auditor and we can tell you what's been appropriated. We want to make sure none of these that we've approved fall through the cracks, as there's a transition. There's trustees and citizens that worked hard to work with us to get to this point, to get them the money for these certain projects. So we'll brief you on all that stuff as needed or as you need. But if you have questions on anything ARPA related, you can reach out to Martha or myself and we'll bring you up to speed on it.
Martha, Trumbull County Auditor, and Gary Schaefer has been very instrumental in this and has done a lot of this work. So he has more knowledge about the scope and things like that. While ours is more the funding part.
Okay. Number 26, accept the retirement of William Hart. And that's something, Commissioner, I hope we reject in our vote.
I just don't know how we replace it.
Yeah, 36 years of service to Trumbull County. We got them at least till February 7th, so we got 1 month to work them like a mule. And there's a lot of projects, a lot of loose ends, and hopefully he's color coding the keys for us right now so we can figure out what's up and which way it's down.
He will be sorely missed.
And Alexandra, we will be posting his position soon.
Yes, I have a,
Alexandra DiVincenzi Bush from Human Resources.
yes, I'm sorry, Alex Stephen Jones Bush and Resources. You really need to get in front of the commissioners. I have a proposal here for you. This would be the restructure of the organization. This would backfill Mr. Hart's job. There's a new job description. When I have spent a lot of time over the past year and a half studying all departments, but specifically this one as well as 911 and everybody else and sanitary and, well, we're just everywhere, right? But long story short, what we were able to figure out was that again, most of our unions, I'm going to say this in the most politically correct way that I can, most of our unions specifically don't have managers within the union for a certain reason. There is a little bit of a conflict of interest there. If you are a supervisor and you are also a union member, are you necessarily, again, I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just putting out the concept of how effective are we actually supervising, right? Because you don't want to hurt your union members, that's your job, but you also, are supervising them. So it's a little bit complex. In this county, we really only have this contract that was grandfathered in back to 1988. Maybe 84, don't quote me, where the supervisors are union. So with that being said, Bill Hart, I gotta say, and anybody who was in the position before, there was one non-union for the entire department. That is not feasible. And we can show that. We need to get some hierarchy in there, some layers. This would give them one additional non-union supervisor who would act as essentially the assistant, who would do a 10 to 6 shift. We're in the process of interviewing for that right now. I was in the process of interviewing for that when Bill turned in his retirement. So really, this just expedited the whole process. We need somebody to be there with this being almost a 24/7 operation, not fully, but from the time of 6:30 a.m. And when we have snow or when we have anything going on, they can come in as early as 3:30, 4:30 a.m. And they're here till at least 12:30 a.m. So they work through the night. I need somebody who's going to be in that office between the hours of roughly 10 to 6 to see both the beginning shift and the ending shift. To make sure that we're, obviously managing the day-to-day operations.
The way it sits now is our supervisor, the only non-union person, Bill Hart, leaves about 3:30, between 3:30 and 4:30, 2:30. We have nobody here till midnight, except for the afternoon supervisor, who very well may be, you have to imply discipline, but then you go to him and say, hey, I'm getting disciplined, I need the union's help, to the same person. And that just doesn't work in any management structure, any business model.
Well, and Commissioner Malloy, you also have to remember that that person just left as well. So there's nobody right now. So I have a temporary solve getting us by. But again, that just gets us by. So essentially what I would like to propose to the Board of Commissioners, it's your department, you can do as you choose, is that we hire that facility supervisor. I have at least so far 5 interviews scheduled, 2 yesterday of which were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I left here thinking to myself, we can do this, right? So, and that doesn't always happen. So it was a good day. But 2 very strong candidates. Again, we still have additional interviews, so I can't say for sure that we're there yet. I need to interview everybody and be fair. And then I would propose that we turn Bill Hart's position, facilities manager. There is a job description in the back. I would propose that we make that a special projects facilities administrator. I would propose that the county use that person that we hire in the future to do all the special to work hand in hand and do all the special projects that Bill was doing. And that's why he wasn't necessarily able to, run the
Dog
day.
pound, fairgrounds,
Yes, everything.
911.
911, all of it.
ag center steps, things like
Yep.
that.
So this job will transition. What I see is the facility supervisor that we're looking to hire right now. They'll be the operational arm, day-to-day business, boots on the ground. Then the new special projects administrator will replace Mr. Hart. Obviously, it will be 1 pay grade higher because they're doing, a lot more work, planning work, strategic planning for the future. They need to have strong procurement knowledge. They need to have, the education is way bumped up to be what we need it to be, and you'll see that in the job description. Again, we have spent a lot of time working on this, studying this, trying to figure out how we can improve this department.
So would the facility supervisor be? Oh, for the facility supervisor is the position under Bill's position,
Yep.
correct? And they would actually serve as, at the time that Bill's position is not here,
They're
they
the
would be
ones-
the supervisor.
Absolutely.
From till
Yep.
midnight or whatever.
Well,
Or-
I'm envisioning like a 10
On
to 6.
afternoon.
Yeah. So that way they're there for the morning shift and for the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that there's always somebody there at some point in time. And also remember, Commissioner Cannon, it's a good question. They're on call 24/7.
Yeah.
So that facility supervisor, that's it baked into their job that they're on call 24/7. I go over that with all the applicants yesterday, all the interviews that I had. You will be on call. So let's say something happens at 11:30 PM when Alex is getting a call that they need me to come down there and fix something or
Yeah.
whatever, because stuff happens, right? People trip, people fall, things happen, you can't find, life happens. That really should be that facility supervisor, that's what they're getting paid to do.
Yeah. Well, as Commissioner Malloy said, there's a lot of projects in the hopper that are gonna need obviously some leadership and guidance on when it comes to everything that goes into that, whether it be procurement or permits or anything like that, and be inundated with that. So I think a facilities manager is probably necessary, especially with Bill Hart's institutional knowledge gone. He could kind of do both.
And it would be somebody to supervise the union supervisor, another layer between the boss and the supervisors,
Which we don't have.
which we don't have now,
Right.
which we should. And now I noticed on this chart though, facility supervisor you have is a 12. On this chart here, you have facility manager is a 14,
Right,
but on the job description, you have pay grade 15
that's
here.
because
as
I
well.
didn't know Bill was retiring when that happened. So that is the updated, that will replace Bill. Bill's still here right now. I wanted to show you where we still are, but the 15 would replace Bill. That job description.
That's 14 on here, but it's 15 on.
Yeah. I wanted to
Why-
show the evolution so you understood. Obviously, we're asking for more educational requirements, which somebody should be paid accordingly for that. I mean, we would love to see somebody's come in with a master's in, government affairs, business administration, anything to where they understand procurement policies, to where they understand, I mean, hey, I'd be thrilled if they could help us work to get grants with everybody. I mean, that would be wonderful. Whatever we can do to try to figure this out, but we do know that Trumbull County is headed in a future where we need somebody who can,
Is this, when do we envision that? I mean, I'm temporary here, I have dates.
yeah,
So when do we envision this going into effect?
like next week. No, I'm kidding.
Well, they discussed at the other board.
If we're gonna post a position, we need to do this first. We can't post a position and then retract on it. And this is something,
Well,
no offense, we've been working on this for a year. I've been in Alex's office at least once every 2 weeks, going over this chart.
but I mean, you're gonna have a new board.
Right.
New board of 2
Understand.
individuals, so I hope that they're abreast of this. I won't be here for this, so I hope that they're made abreast of this.
Yeah. So the goal was, to be honest with you today, I was told, and again, I was told that everybody would be here. I know Mr. Hernandez is here, not expecting him. He can wait. Obviously, I'm still just doing interviews. I haven't posted Bill's position yet. I say a week, but it's not.
So I think that, I
I
just
still
wanna make
think,
sure.
Commissioner, you and I, and this board, you and Nikki, still have loose ends we need to tie up from our board, our current administration. We can't just kick everything.
No, but we're not gonna be able to advertise for these positions, interview for these positions.
In the
Do all
time,
this
yeah.
in the time necessary.
Correct.
This is gonna be something for the next board to.
It will.
Correct, but we need to, but I think we need to establish the hierarchy of it. There's no harm in that.
Oh, no.
Of figuring that out, so that when the new people come in, they can just get to work on stuff and not have to worry about, oh, how do we start? They don't know enough to know things, and they won't know for a couple of months, the ins and outs of the workings of the county. That's something, you've got 10 years of experience on this. I've only got 2. Commissioner Frenchco has 4. I think that going into it, we can set the structure of this and it doesn't affect anything. Alex has been working on this. She's not gonna change her mind on her
No.
direction of
Oh,
that.
no.
Well, I'm
not
gonna do
saying
whatever
that.
the board wants me
just
to do,
think
but.
And this actually
Yeah, exactly.
financially works also. When we looked at the stuff, this isn't a financial burden on anybody. It's just thinking down the road to what makes this county function the best.
Sure.
We know what our downfalls are. We know where we've had issues, and especially in maintenance. And we know that we've worked Bill to the core. And if there was
He needs
somebody
support.
else,
Well, that position needs support, you know.
if there was somebody else, we would be further along. It would make everybody's down there's job easier.
But I will
And the
say,
structure would fall.
it was as no fault of his, you know, again, we've changed so quick, things keep
Right.
changing.
Well, we
Life
lost
changes.
the
We
shift
lost,
supervisor
yes,
in the afternoon, who had been there for, Cuddy been there a
long time.
And, you know, with Bill, I'm sure he's gonna be using some time in
Yeah,
between now.
I'm sure.
Is, which he's allowed.
He is,
you
yeah.
know, To do so.
But there's a
gonna
couple
be
little
gap
things in
here.
there too, like even lead custodian. That was something we haven't had before. We have, all the custodians are threes. And there's no lead to help decide who goes where and when and who fills in and who does what. We've just had a supervisor in the afternoon that fills in on the after they want to. If not, they don't. We just had a recent thing over the last week, you know, that was brought to my attention today and confirmed at the planning. We went a weekend, 3 days without the bank building, their planning commission and archives, the door not being locked for the whole 3 days. Bums could have walked in there and lived in there for 3 days over the weekend in the snow because our maintenance didn't lock the doors. And that was because someone was off, somebody else didn't follow suit with it. And we also had with the courthouse, we had someone gone last week. And I got a complaint from the judges there that there's salt and footprints all over the courthouse floor. They didn't want the floors when someone was gone. So we need something there we need other layers of protection to make sure when someone's not there, the work is getting done.
Again, that's something that your board moving forward is gonna have to
Yeah.
decide on. So I won't be making those decisions. That's something that next board will be. I mean, I'm in favor of
And I will
looking at this
absolutely say
chart and, you know, potentially entertaining it, but that's not my call to make.
Yeah, and I will absolutely, you make a valid point. This is kind of, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm glad you hit on that. It's kind of a tricky time right now for HR in general, because we know where we've been headed, but we have all new people coming on, right? So it is a little bit complex and it's been, you know,
But you also don't want to do something at the 11th hour and
No,
throw something in.
I don't. That's
where
why I'm
another-
transparent.
Another board is saying, well, why did that happen
Yep.
at this?
Yeah, but the
stage?
problem we have too is Bill is leaving February 7th. We wait till the first board meeting, even the first reorganization meeting, and throw that on them of, hey, we need to revamp maintenance. You know, by the way, we need to post this for so many
Welcome
days
to
and
the
then hire
job.
somebody.
I mean, that is the job.
Before Bill gets here,
That
right?
can happen in any department at any time.
That's right.
I mean, that's unfortunate.
has
That's my
happened.
day every day.
You know,
To be honest with you, I get the 12th hour and I find out something I was working on has to completely change because that person's not gonna be there or whatever may happen. Heck, I'm dealing with it all with all you right now. So
What's the
um,
crisis du jour today?
what's the super?
That's just what that's what the job is.
But I will say, guys, I know this looks overwhelming. Just keep in mind, the only two changes on this whole org chart is just changing out Bill's job and also the facility supervisor and the lead custodian. Everything else is already per union contract. There's no changes there. I just wanted to make sure you had everything in writing so you can
Right.
look at it all.
Right.
So really,
No,
guys, sounds really big, but
Right.
in the grand scheme of things,
I guess one other thing, why do you want Bill to be a 15 instead of a 14? If you still got a 12 underneath them, why is it gonna be 3 levels above the facilities?
because they're taking on special projects, that's a whole nother aspect. So I'm empowering you to look at the job description that I gave you. Their education requirements have been way bumped up. I need somebody who's familiar in federal and state procurement policies. I need somebody who has preferably a master's in business administration from public administration, facilities management. I need this person to be a jack of all trades. So this person essentially is not only just the facilities director over both maintenance and vehicle, but also they're doing a double duty of being also our special projects administrator. I think you would be, I don't think I could find anybody in this county with that type of expertise.
So that's why you wanna pay him
At a pay
commensurate
range
with what we need.
Yes. I know I wouldn't do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
But when you get that type of person with what you're saying, is that still a person that's gonna jump in and get their hands dirty once in a while when the supervisor's gone or when we have a project that
It's-
needs
Yeah, it's still their department.
hands-on?
You're looking at, I found you Casey. I think I did a pretty good job there. I found myself, right? I get my hands dirty. So, I mean, you're asking me to do my job, and I'm just telling you, I'm gonna do my job for you.
Just being devil's advocate to make sure we're right on with it,
Have I failed you yet?
and you have not.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey, there, I might go one day. Just give me,
give me a heads up when that day's coming.
we're human after all.
Okay, so that handles the maintenance part of things with Bill. Next up, clerk of courts. Acknowledgement of the retirement of Mary Vassis from her position as chief deputy, effective January 5. And then also recognize Barbara Vengel from her position as title supervisor and computer system administrator. Karen and Fennell, would you like to say a few words on both of them?
Well, first of all, Karen and Van Allen, clerk of courts. First of all, quite obviously, 35 years experience, Mary Vassis, Barb Vingel, 30 years. That's myself, 37 years. That's over 100 years of experience leaving, you know. They did a fantastic job. Mary was my chief deputy, Barb, the title supervisor, and computer system administrator. They're definitely going to be greatly missed, and we were hands-on people. They were hands-on people. So like you just said, kind of just said, yeah, it's going to be a big loss, but gotta move forward. It'll be okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
they're both wonderful women and
Absolutely.
they will definitely be missed by not just this department, but all employees.
There are resolutions for free,
No good.
just so you know.
Okay. Julie Green.
I have to add something good, because I like to acknowledge people for their work. And we appreciate it and recognize Karen for her retirement, her service. But also I wanted to tell you, Karen, thank you for your help. We were just talking about the foreclosure crisis of 2008. We had a Save Our Homes task force back then. I don't know if anybody was around that remembers that. We had thousands of foreclosures and filings that if it were not for Barb Vingel and the clerk of courts and the judges and all the partners on the Save Our Homes task force, so many more people would have lost their homes. So, I mean, I'm sure that those people who had their homes saved remember that. I certainly remember it. And thanks to you and your staff for
Thank you, Jill.
the work on that important. It
Thank
seems like yesterday, but it was, gosh, 16 years ago. Just wanted to add that.
That's it, Karen. We can't express enough the hole is gonna be left when you leave, so. We just wish the best of luck to the incoming administration, but they got huge shoes to fill between the three of you. Okay. 29, authorize Denny Malloy, President of Board of Commissioners, to enter a preliminary participatory agreement ODOT for the rerouting of water line along State Route 46 for the north and south of the intersection with East Market Street and Highland Corners. This agreement is necessary for ODOT to relocate a Trumbull County water line to be affected by ODOT project TRU SR 460781 with input from Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. ODOT will be responsible for all necessary design, engineering, and construction. However, Trumbull County must pay ODOT 100% of the costs incurred by the state, which is currently estimated to be $490,900. Gary.
Gary Newbrow, Sanitary Engineering Commissioners, I regret to bring this in front of you. I mean, I am not pleased with this at all. This is the same thing that happened on the burning time where they all the water lines in our right of way and you're gonna have to pay to have it relocated.
Why would they do this at the same time? We already have traffic congestion on 46. Why would they want to congest it up a mile back again? Even more?
Well, once they finish with the diverging diamond, then they're moving up to that Highland Corners intersection. So I don't think they're both gonna be under.
But it's still gonna be the same stretch of road is gonna be affected now for even more time.
Right. I have no control over their schedule or how they're doing it, but it's my understanding they're gonna complete the diamond first. Then they're moving up to Highland Corner.
Right now, what brings this along? What's the project here that's causing this?
We have a water line going up 46 right through Highland Corners intersection.
And we've looked at this through our legal counsel, well, with the diverging diamond
Yeah,
project. We're hopeful that ODOT would shoulder the burden of that, but according to our legal counsel, there's no way that they're gonna be up for that, hold back on the county, even if they.
yeah, we already went through the argument and a fight with them over the diverging diamond with the same exact agreement here. And I mean, it's just unfortunate that we are liable for this cost, and I can understand why we are. We fought tooth and nail against it, and diverting the diamond, it was just decided, sorry, you have to pay this. And,
What are they
hopefully
doing?
we'll find it again.
What are they doing at that intersection?
They are adding more lanes. Both directions. And right now, the estimated cost is $420,900. Now, one thing I did do was I reached out to OWDA and asked them if we could borrow the money. And what they told me is, once the agreement's in place, and I have a document for $420,900, we can put in a loan for them. I was, taking a 5-year loan on it at low interest, so we can pay this off in 5 years. Let it have it go. We don't have the 420,000 right now. So, yeah, we don't even close to that. But we can take out a loan and pay it off over time.
Just real quick, Gary. Bill, there was an opinion done on this, wasn't there? With the diverging diamond?
No, Danzo.
Yeah, Bill Danso from prosecutor's office. Yeah, we explored this extensively with the diverging diamond. And there is a statute that's right on point on this. ODOT's rules are on point. There are some exceptions, and with the diverging diamond, we tried to raise some of those exceptions. Ultimately, we weren't successful on any of those. The agreement itself is perfectly lawful. I mean, there's no legal prohibition for it. And all I would say is, again, I trust that the sanitary engineer staff has looked at this through the exceptions also, and I'm assuming there are none that they found here. Just like the diverging diamond, we were not able to assert any. It's, I guess, the cost of doing business in a way of using ODOT's right of way. We get it for free essentially to use it, but if they ever move, this is the situation we're in.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate.
Is it worth looking at this particular scenario and having Bill taking a second look at that and see if any of those exceptions apply, or you would?
This is the same
type of thing.
same type of project that we had down at the Burning Diamond. I don't see anything different here that would cause the exception. It would be any different than it was on the diamond.
Okay.
And I've been putting this off, and I don't know if you look at some of the documentation I sent over, and Jim Bruner down there at ODOT, who's been basically requesting this from me for quite a while now. I keep putting it off. So at the end of the putting it off time.
So what fund will this be taken out of your?
Well, once we sign the agreements, I don't even have to put a fund number down here. We're signing the agreement.
Well, if you
Then
get the grant.
I put together an OWDA application,
that's-
send it down, and then they'll have the money for me to withdraw from OWDA to pay.
But what will it ultimately be coming? I mean, if that's a loan.
The water.
Eventually, the loan payments are gonna have to come out of the water fund, 601.
Not fair for Trumbull County, but it is what it is. We've been through
Well,
this before.
We know this, don't have people accused that we're preventing ODOT from
I know,
doing this multi-million-dollar project.
but at the end of the day, it's ODOT's project. They should be responsible for it, in my opinion.
Me too.
Legally, I guess.
Me too.
There's some caveats.
I agree 100%.
So Karen and Alexandra get a star, and Gary gets a lump of coal in the star. Brandon on our parade. All right, number 30. We'll work through it. Enter executive session, considering discipline of one sanitary engineer employee. Come out of it and then decide on a 10-day suspension for that employee. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Authorize Trumbull County sanitary engineers to send notification letter to all Trumbull County licensed drain layers announcing the request for price proposal package for the phase 2 of the ARP countywide sanitary lateral assistance program. Price proposal package will be available at Trumbull County sanitary engineers office. Fee of $75 will be charged per price proposal packet. Price proposal packets include technical information for 12 income qualified owner-occupied households along Yankee Run Road in Brookfield Township. Bid awards will be based on lowest responsive and responsible price for each individual household. The completed price proposal packet must be returned intact in a sealed envelope marked countywide sanitary lateral assistance program phase 2 to the attention of Lisa Denunzio Blair. Our address here, no later than 10 a.m. on Friday, January 10th, 2025. The sanitary engineers will maintain a record of registered licensed drain layers, will pick up price proposal packets, And these are the only proposals to be considered valid at the scheduled bid opening at 10 a.m. on Friday, January 10th.
Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer, commissioners, this is the same resolution we used for the phase one of this. We did 17 houses. Now we got 12 houses ready to go out there on Yankee Run Road.
So they bidding each house or they bidding the whole package of
Well,
12?
we're gonna be doing them individually, get better prices that way.
Okay.
And, this is the same procedure we use with the ARP fund, so, confident that this is all legal. Bill, yeah, and Julie's here too. Julie put this out the first time through the planning commission. The sanitary engineers are putting this one off to try to relieve some of the workload on the planning. They did help us tremendously. They help with, income qualifying the household, things like that. Once they finish that process, and that's when Bill McCoskey from our office goes out and conducts the inspection of the house, comes up with the specs and, contract documents, for the bid, the project out.
34, adopt a resolution declaring the necessity of constructing Smith Stewart Strassmayer Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. Project number 2S17 for Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Engineer Sewer District, Diana Township. Thursday, January 23rd at 7 p.m. is the time and place in Matthews High School cafeteria for a hearing of objection or acceptance of the project to the tentative capital charges of the boundaries of project scope for same as outlined in the resolution.
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer, commissioners, we have, 4 public hearings that we need to get moving on. This is the first one. I wanted to get this out for the beginning of the year because, you know, there's a certain, time requirement between issuing the resolution of necessity and having that public hearing. And I wanted to get at least this necessity resolution done, before the end of the year. We have not only this project, we have State Line Road, we have Sheridan Drive, and we have water line extension on Anderson Park Road. We got to get all 4 of these out, hopefully, by the end of February.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, put that in your phone, please, for January 23rd at 7, because these are mandatory things to be attended. Figure that up on your schedule.
Gary, is this for the line going down between connect the school?
No, that's Sheridan Drive. That's another one we need to do.
I was getting Stewart and Sheridan.
Yeah. But this one, they were in line before Sheridan. That's why we have to have this one.
Okay.
This one's first, then State Line Road.
Yeah.
Out there in Brookfield on the Pennsylvania border. Then we'll go to Sheridan, then we'll go to that water line on Anderson Morris Road.
Yes.
So we're gonna be busy on Thursday nights here in the month of January.
What are you doing Thursdays?
That's always been what works best for the residents. That's our experience. And then in the evening, that's where you get off.
If you consider Wednesdays, I think that works. I know the incoming commissioners both still have other jobs too. And I know Wednesdays or work days will definitely all be here all day. It might make it easier schedule on them if you can do it on Wednesdays, but that's your discretion, I
Okay,
guess.
so Wednesdays, but it'll still be in the evening.
Yeah,
All right, I'll look at that.
that seems easier for the most part if they're taking days off.
Thursday nights, Wednesday nights, it's just we've always done them on Thursday. Commissioner want me to change them to Wednesday night, I will.
We can discuss it, I guess, too at a later time, but let's make the recommendation.
All right, but this one I already scheduled.
That's fine.
Go and everything. All right.
Okay, 35, remove from table to approve an agreement with Buckeye Energy on the opt-out electric aggregation service. 36 is to approve an agreement with Buckeye Energy. 37, remove from table an agreement with NOPEC for opt-out energy electric aggregation service. 38 is to approve an agreement with NOPEC. 39, remove from table an agreement for CCAO in conjunction with Palmer Energy for opt-out electric aggregation. And 40 is to approve an agreement with Palmer Energy Company for opt-out electric aggregation. These are all 3-year contracts commencing in March of 2025. And we've only got a couple more little agenda items we'll get through first, and then we'll entertain hearing from those companies. Number 41, approve or deny road name change of Deepak Drive located in Howland to being renamed Frankie Lane. They received this request from Tom Nader on behalf of his clients, Christopher and Rhonda Billwalk. The Board of Commissioners adopted the resolution, setting board date and time for a hearing, which will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. In the Commissioners' hearing room. And 42, adopt the memorandum of understanding between the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and Trumbull County Clerk of Courts. Whereas Board of Clerk agrees that money in the Certificate of Title Administration Fund exceeds what is needed to pay costs for 2024. And the board and the clerk agree that a portion of the excess may be transferred to our general fund. And the amount is $2 million to be transferred to the general fund. And agreement terminates, the offer terminates on December 31st. And this is something Karen had reached out to me. This is unprecedented. We have an elected official that's leaving office, and at the end of her term, we have many department heads coming to us for more money. It's noteworthy. We have an elected official leaving and giving us back $2 million to put in the general fund, and I applaud you for that. That's something I know this fund, you said, is something that you kind of snaked away on a rainy day over the years. This is 20 years worth of insurance policy to make sure you didn't have to come to us for more money. You do collect fees. Everything was accountable by law and what you did with this stuff. And this is an approved legal fund that you have, that you're still leaving $1 million in that account for the next clerk, which is more than sufficient. But with this excess, you want us to have it to be utilized for something, as we talked, special cause, not just to go to waste or go to salary increases or anything. This is kind of a gift from the clerk of courts of $2 million of, we know there's some big ticket items. We've talked about 911, we talked about the coroner, we talked about the dog pound, feasibility study, mosquito. This is something that Karen, first tell us about this, and then I would like, just for the good of the board, I know once you give the money to the board, you can't stipulate on what it's got to go to this, you can't earmark it, but I want to hear what your request is of that, because this came from your hard work and more than 20 years of pinching pennies there. I would like you to have some say in this, because this has never been done before that I've ever seen, that someone has given this kind of money back. That's amazing.
Karen and Finn Allen, Clerk of Courts. Just a little background back, and I won't take long to say this, but when I first came in office in 2005, we were subsidized from the commissioners every year, about $60,000. We were subsidized. So of course, with increase of title fees and the fact that you had to go out there and earn your business, we run it like a business. My staff, we run it like a business, and you have to these days. You really do, because of cross-county titling, which went into effect years and years ago. So saying all that, I built this fund up a while back, probably a year ago. I talked tomorrow on this also, that I had this excess fund, and that when I retired, I wanted to give back to the general fund. I wanted to reach 3 million, to which I did. I went and I surpassed 3 million in my 20 years here. And I left $1 million in there, and we generally bring in, I'm going to say an average about 80 to 90,000 per month to the general fund we pay in. So I'm not tuning anybody out of anything for the future. The next clerk will have plenty of money, but the 2 million, I wanted to give back 2 million to the general fund. Again, I cannot earmark, I cannot say I'm giving this for this. I'm not allowed to do that. Quite obviously, Bill Danzo went over the MOU, I believe, well, I know, not that I believe, I know, and went over this. I leave it in the hands of the commissioners. The December 31st deadline is not a deadline to use the money or what have you. The deadline for me to say December 31st, I would like it turned over before December 31st. In saying all that, I trust the commissioners. I trust you as the commissioners. I trust the incoming commissioners to wisely use this, whether it be 911, the dog pounds. I know there's feasibility studies here and there that are asked about. Maybe these are the times to use that. You have a little bit extra to do that with. I leave it up to you. But I say, please use it in a good and decent manner. That's all I ask.
Don't get any ideas there, Gary. See your eyes like that.
We always knew that the rainy day fund, he was always there. As much as Adrian and I always threatened to take it.
Yes.
And use it for different things. We always knew
Years.
that they were fiscally responsible and knew that you were gonna be fiscally responsible with it. And served as sort of a backup in case of an emergency, but
Right.
You've been a good steward of those dollars, and bringing back to the general fund means the world to the commissioners, I'm sure.
Martha, is there a way, I know it's gonna go in the fund, but can we have a special fund number? Like we have a lottery fund, we gotta think, we have like a Karen fund or something?
Oh, God.
Talk to, well, because this, it says general fund. And so it would have to be a line item within the general fund, but let me talk to Christie and we'll get back.
See if we could, because I would like something somehow when we do spend it.
It's separated
to
out, and I
include-
think that it would be, but I'm just not sure. She'd have to figure out what number we want. There's numbers for it.
Doesn't happen every day.
And Commissioner, for her to be able to do that, to accumulate that, maybe if it is used for the dog pound, there is some sort of commemorative wing of that can be in memory of, and Karen to be named after, I'm just throwing that out. That's a nice.
Well, there should be,
Or if you.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not telling you how to.
Trey.
Something like that,
Yeah, that
to commemorate her fiscal
Well,
responsibility.
we were talking about like, if we had a gentleman donate 200 grand to the dog pound, yeah, we're gonna have something, something with his name.
Right,
There is something, and not just Karen, but her whole era of staff. This wasn't her, this was the hard
That's right.
work of the,
It's my whole
people that
staff.
worked there at that time.
100%.
and she could have took this money and gave raises and took this money and frivolously spent the taxpayer money that she brought in.
To which they deserve, right, believe me.
Right.
But saying this, and also, I think we'll ask Bill this question I asked you. I think another resolution would have to be passed, like this memorandum of understanding, another resolution to earmark the money then after. Am I right on that?
Yeah, Bill Danso, prosecutor's office. This MOU effectuates what the statute requires as far as the transfer of the money. Any further, and again, it does go to the general fund by statute. Any further earmarking, for example, if you wanted to take that general fund money and designate it for the dog pound or for 911, that would be a separate agenda item transfer at that point that would go through the normal process that the auditor's office helps you through.
And if we have to, Martha, your turn, if we would have to create a fund within the general fund, as we've done in the past, specifically the dog pound, when we had to accept that donation, we had to create a donation fund. That would go through, that would be part of it.
Karen, thank you. I mean, that's this,
Very good. Thank you.
I challenge every other elected official to come up with money to give us back to the general. No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, that concludes the regular scheduled business. Before we get into the other stuff, there's one issue I want to take care of. And we've been looking for a journal clerk, another journal clerk for over a year and a half. I think we put Chrissy on, she's been on a year and a half now.
She started a month after I did, so yeah, roughly.
So in that position, we've had two traditionally. Once we elevated the assistant clerk up to clerk, we didn't fill the assistant clerk's position. but we don't have two journal clerks now. They already interviewed for this. They already screened applicants. They have a candidate that they want to hire. We've been dragging our feet because we don't want that candidate to leave what they're doing. I think it's already done. We don't need to leave this for the next board. We've already interviewed, we already picked a candidate. We already know we need to fill that position at least. So, you know, I think I would like to see our board take action as immediately as tomorrow to officially elevate them. We have a candidate and she's internal, you know, in there, and that's somebody that I would, Lisa's the clerk, and she had her screening committee with that, and we have a candidate that they want for the job, and I don't think there's any reason to keep her in the position she's in right now. And I know it's gonna create some problems with us on who's gonna answer the phone, things like that, in the interim, but I don't wanna hold someone's career back because no one else wants to answer the phone, we can't answer the phone in the meantime. We'll deal with that as the time comes, but
Commissioner, I just don't want to give you the wrong, it's not the phone, it's the schedule.
I understand.
We have somebody to answer the phone.
I
I
understand.
just want to make sure I was,
But she does back up on that. They do, when they
No.
rotate the lunch, she
but
is.
they all. We all need to work together.
And that is something in the interim while she's doing the learning, the new job, potentially that can still be covered. We can work that out somehow amongst the office if we can.
So this is the internal moving of one of the employees.
Correct,
This isn't a new person.
correct.
Yeah.
So I don't, like I said, I asked Lisa, I'm like, what are we waiting for? Did you pick somebody? Yes, ready to go. But that's been the hang up, and I don't see why we can't just move forward with it, get that wiped off the slate, and then then worry about what we're gonna do to fill that position, next.
Yeah.
But can we put that on for tomorrow?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And then Alex, that opens up a bigger thing. Mr. Hernandez is here, and like I said, I wish Mr. Bernard was here also.
Are you ready for another one?
Right?
We're always progressing, we're always changing, we're always trying to be more efficient. And
This is what you see up at night, all these,
as many departments have done, you try to streamline your organization, you try to save money, you try to cover all duties of what they have. We have, Alex has another idea that I've been working with her on. I know you have too, off and on.
Actually, Commissioner Cantal Mesa too, even before, just throughout the, I don't want to take anything away from anybody. I think it's been a conglomerate of everybody working together. And Lisa, thank you. Obviously, the commissioner's office staff has gone through a lot. Specifically the past 4 years. We've lost 2 clerks, Paulette Godfrey and Paula Babota-Klotz. We have lost assistant clerks by them having to be put into other positions. We have lost countless journal clerks. So it's been very trying for them. And as I had said with the maintenance department, I also just have the luxury of working really closely with the commissioner staff because I literally am across the hall. It's like a revolving door every day, and we're just one happy little, family. And I take it very serious because they truly, truly, truly have stuck together and have weathered a lot of storms. And it may not have been perfect. None of us are perfect, but they did it. And they did it really on their own. And long story short, we did interview for the journal clerk a while back. And I would, beyond a shadow of doubt, I felt like the internal candidate was the strongest. We did interview external candidates as well. We did
Twice.
multiple times.
We did
Yeah.
twice.
And honestly, we were close to having both positions filled. And I'm not going to be, we're moving forward to better, positive, brighter days. But at the end of the day, on the 12th hour, the person said, yeah, I did some research and I don't want this job. So we are very blessed that we even have, somebody who's ready to assume that position internally. Lisa has worked very hard to give this person smaller tasks, such as indexing, resolutions, things along the way that could get this person prepared for the future. And she has risen to that challenge. Again, there is some concern about who will be doing the scheduling. So I had to then figure that out, which is what you see in this new. So nothing changes. County clerk is still the same, which is Lisa. We do feel the assistant clerk should be left vacant because I don't feel that we have anybody right now who's willing to take that position, but I do think that you have a very strong candidate in your own office that will be ready in the future. And I am actually working with her for some schooling things. We're working on some developmental things to get her what she needs, some training, some Ohio Sunshine Law trainings, all of that fun stuff that could really help a clerk be a really effective assistant clerk one day. Journal Clerk 2 is still Christina Stein. She's there and she is phenomenal. She is probably, you know, I gotta tell you, she says very little, but she is a hard worker.
Okay.
And she carries all of that journal clerk work on her shoulders alone. And it is a lot of paperwork and she does it with a smile on her face. If you need anything, she's there for you. And that speaks magnitudes.
Let's talk more
She
do.
does.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Let's talk more do. That's
Yes.
my motto. I
So she is
appreciate that.
she is an amazing
She
asset to your
is, I
staff
agree.
and to the future commissioners. And then, you know, obviously, we have Dawn, who is doing payroll and reception right now. So we are proposing to work with the union. Again, we have two union. The union are in the orange kind of pinkish boxes. That's important because their jobs are set by their job description. It's deemed serve you defined. So we can't change those without working with the union to get a change. And with that being said, we would like to see the scheduler position realistically go away. I think that is and I'm so sorry to be so blunt, but that's kind of my job. I think that's just truly not a full-time position on its own. I think we've proven that, we've studied that. And I think that you truly can get away with having somebody do payroll reception and scheduling. So that way we're doing less with more. It frees up money in the budget, as you'll see on the next page. We actually will come in, I costed out your entire commissioner's office staff, including the commissioners, Mike Salamone, who falls under your staff. So the commissioners come out of 1010 funding. The office staff, including Mike Salamone, comes out of 1010 funding. Dimitri Leokis, who is our workforce development board administrator, how I freed up this money for you guys was when Bim Turner left, I got rid of the assistant job, which then put money back in our coffers to be able to do all of this. So he's from the 1011 fund, and then Kathy Seagraves, who's our purchasing, is out of the 1020 fund. She does all the purchasing for all the supplies for the county for the maintenance department. Long story short, what that will also allow us to do is we realized pretty quickly that in the past, you've had purchasing administrators. We don't have that. I would love to see somebody in this county be able to be a little bit more abreast of contracts that are coming up for renewal, whether it's copy machines. There's so much leverage that we can do out there. When you go out to bid for a larger entity versus smaller entities going out each time, we could save probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in copier costs in, you know, whatever we do contract wise that we do countywide. I think that there's a really big opportunity to, as ARPA goes away, and that's coming to an end, you know, slowly but surely. We need to figure out what we were gonna do with your accounts payable department, who's kind of been a jack of all trades. So we would propose pulling Shara to become a purchasing administrator, and then to give her old position underneath her and have them do the day-to-day bills for the commissioner's office. When I say day-to-day bills for the commissioner's office, it's really extremely important to understand they're paying the bills for the jail. They're paying the bills for the gas and electric for every single one of our 23 buildings. Anything owned by the commissioners. Most people just think when I say commissioners, it's just our staff up top, you know, like the 5 of us who are in the office.
And
That is-
and that's noteworthy in the sense too, because Shara is like the eyes and ears of this institution. She knows
Absolutely.
everything here. She's irreplaceable. She has earned over 34 years the right to come on and be her own administrator and not be under anybody else. There's nobody, just like with Bill Hart, trying to figure out where the keys are to this. He's the key holder. She's the key holder for all things that keep us in the black and paying the bills and keeping us on time and keeping our credit rating where it is by not falling behind. And she deserves this, as well as we talked about Chrissy and we talked about Lisa and Dawn. You know, Shara is the person for this, and it's just a natural fit for her to do that. And you know, she's got 34 years service, I believe it is. 32.
Yeah.
So we've got to start thinking down the road too.
We
If
need
Shara were to leave
succession.
tomorrow, there's nobody on the left side of this thing would have a clue what to do. We would be lost. We would be right back to square one. So to have someone underneath her at that pay range for her to supervise, to learn the ropes, to eventually climb up the ladder, and it gives a ladder of, if something were to happen. And as Sharon gets more time on, she gets more vacation, she gets more days off. This will make the office run and function out that much smoother. We really don't have anybody that's been training for that. Like, we just keep dumping work on Sharon all the time. Hey, nobody knows how to do this. Let's give it to Alex or give it to Sharon. If it's a bill related thing, we dump it in Sharon's lap. If it's something else, we've been dumping on you. So this fits here with what we do to make this office function. The last 4 years, as Commissioner Cantala Mesa said, has been very difficult, to say the least. And if we're looking at it from a business standpoint to streamline the organization, and this saves money at the same time, to me, it's a no-brainer. To me, it's something that,
What would Sharon's pay grade, what is her pay grade?
She's at a 10 right now. Yeah, so she would go up one pay grade. So again, these are very minimal changes. And I have been costing this out since I came in. I knew that with incremental changes, as attrition happened, as you know, obviously, like I said, Jim Turner retired and we are getting better together.
So where or the savings is through Bim Turner's position?
So the savings is multiple. It's a good question. Jim Turner's position, then also by eliminating your scheduler and absorbing that in with the payroll receptionist.
and we jumped
So-
that up one level, but we saved the whole
Correct.
cost of that one employee.
And to be quite honest with you, those are the two things that are going to be your cost savings. And we will go from 2023 actuals was 1.5 million, 2024 projected actuals. Obviously, we're not done with 2024 yet, so I can't, is 1.551. And with everything that I've costed here for you, and again, commissioners and incoming commissioners and Lisa, you can see I account for longevity, steps. I also baked this in at their new rates and also baked in the 2493 potential coming increase. That's all accounted for in here. I baked in your estimated vacation buyouts for some of your more tenured employees, your Medicare, your PERS, your workers' comp, your hospital and life insurance, and we would be at potentially 1.483. So again, still a cost savings to the Board of Commissioners.
$30,000 less than what we're spending this year by revamping stuff, and that's even with commissioner raises that we're getting inherited or on the whole state and stuff. So,
I'm not saying
I
it
would
has-
say that's outstanding to do this.
Yes.
Now,
absolutely.
there are other options. When you look at other counties, they've got administrators, they got assistant administrators, they got this, they got that. This doesn't do any of that stuff. All this does is streamline what we have to make what we have function better and make sure we don't have any holes. If something happens tomorrow and Shara, God forbid, something were to happen, we need someone else that knows what they're doing. We need her to be able to function and for all the time that she's put in with this stuff, she can handle that job being her own administrator. You know, that would be her choice too, whether she wants to leave the union, because that's stepping up, but there'd be no reason to not, you know, in the environment we're coming into now. You know, talent and hard work is gonna be rewarded and not frowned upon, you know, so this is something that I think in every department, my personal goal, and Rick, you know this too, whether it be maintenance or whether it be here, you need to have a ladder. The person on the bottom needs to have some way to reach the top by their merits over time. If they want to be a county employee, there's nothing that separates an elected official or an administrator from the bottom person, other than hard work and schooling, education, and time and grade. So we can't have, and I brought this up even in maintenance, we got 3s, we got a 15 up top, and there's very little room for like a custodian to work their way up without bouncing around, jumping departments. So that's something down the road. I'd like to fine tune that somewhat, where they can become a supervisor. From there, become the maintenance super. From there, if they want to increase their schooling, if they want to climb the ladder, we need to have ways. I don't want brick walls for people to meet somewhere along the line. And with this here, someone could start out as a receptionist potentially someday, or a scheduler, work their way to journal clerk, work their way all the way up to clerk, and someday, you know, be at the top level of what they can do. There's a ladder for them to climb. And I think Alex's plan here for both departments creates that ladder. It creates opportunity. It doesn't unfairly screw anybody, and it doesn't, there's no good old boy system wrapped into it to pick your friends and pick your buddies. It's, if you want to do the job and you want to work hard and you want to achieve, there's a way for you to get there. You know, there are people in the way, but when people get out of the way and they retire and they move on, it creates opportunity for the next person. And right now we are kind of staggered that way. It isn't like we got a whole fresh staff where everyone's gonna retire at the same time. We're gonna have transitions. Lisa's gonna definitely leave before Chrissy, you know, and Shara's definitely gonna leave before her pay grade 8 underneath her leaves. So we have that natural transition phase. So again, Commissioner, I know you've been here for 10 years. What's your opinion? Mr. Hernandez, this is gonna be for you and Mr. Bernard to decide and look at and say, this totally makes sense. This isn't anything we're doing to slide anybody in or do anything. It's just after 2 years of experience with me, after Mars 10 years, and after Alexandra's professionalism and time, we've got enough data now to look and see what works best. You know, we don't have to keep doing the same old thing. We can make moves like this to streamline, and it'll be for the good of the whole county. And right there, do this and we get a $30,000 savings. That's a home run. Commissioner, you, any fine tuning of this?
No.
This has kind of been your baby. You've watched this whole thing grow and develop over the years.
No, but I will say that, you know, again, these are decisions that have to be made by the incoming board.
Right.
Great.
And I feel like I'm slaying some people, but this is almost Christmas and we have one more meeting left and, you know, I love the ideas and I think they're good, but it doesn't make any sense for me to act on them unless you and the future board are
But
comfortable.
one thing you can vouch for in your experience is we have the staff that can do this. There isn't anybody
Oh,
on
no
this
doubt.
chart
No
that
doubt.
can't perform the duties we're asking them to do.
No doubt.
They can all do it. I mean, Cheryl will shine as an administrator. Amy will step right into a clerk's position without Dawn. If she's gonna handle both for a while, we reschedule the position. She can handle it. This is something that everybody's capable. Lisa, you've proven yourself as a clerk. You went from interim to permanent. And this is something where I'm proud of the staff we have. I love the employees we have. I love the professionalism we have. And I put our staff up against anybody. And we need to do that in every facet of the county. I mean, we don't have, you know, we're only as strong as our weakest link, and we're making our weak links pretty strong right.
And Commissioner Canley, so you make very good points, Alex DeGency Bush. I just felt like, to be fully transparent, I felt like it was a good time. I'm not asking you to make
Yeah, no,
any, but I felt like this was a good way to at least bring it to everybody's attention
Everybody's attention.
before you leave, because
That's right.
you did have an instrumental hand in all of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take that away from you
And
either.
the last thing we
So-
wanted was to hire, I'm glad to see, and hopefully this continues. The cost savings is tremendous.
Yeah.
But, you know, looking at a county administrator, looking at a county budget director, I don't think we need to do that because you have capable, competent people in this department that can assume a lot of those roles, so.
And I agree. You know, I've said it before, we are all 3 commissioners, administrators. There may come a time down the road as the county grows and as we get more economic development, and we're gonna see this county change rapidly over the next couple of years, especially with the Kimberly Clarks and the development things we have coming here, that I'm hoping someday we're in a Karen situation where we got more money than we know what to do with in the county, and we're able to, you know, spread our wings a little more. Okay, that kind of wraps that. Todd Littell.
I'll tell recorder. Just want to give this, I apologize, this is not on your agenda, commissioners, but this is a project that we had talked about a while back that I just wanted to bring up. Company called Preservica. What this is about is our IT department came to us a while ago talking about the servers for the county and how they are at maximum levels, and it will be an issue if we don't make a change. So we've taken a look at, we did our due diligence, took a look, and the primary, I guess, user of our servers is our record center. Record center basically houses historical data for most of the departments in the county, taking up a significant amount of the servers. This company, Preservica, what this will do, among other favorable things, but primarily it will protect our data over there by putting it on a cloud preservation system. And it will also make it user-friendly for anybody in the public. It would be a one-stop shop for anybody in the public that wanted to access those records from outside of the county, as well as any department staff that need to get a hold of non-public records. They would be able to do that in one location. It also keeps information, just for example, the sheriff's office, if they needed video surveillance from different places, this system has the ability to convert that data so that they can easily access those systems where it's becoming harder and harder to do that. If you, my understanding, it is GSA compliant. I talked to prosecutor Bill Danzo. We would not have to bid this out. It would be sole source. This letter that you have in your hands was sent out to all the departments that you see. I did not get a response from any. I can tell you that the fee is approximately 46,000 a year. We could lock that in for 5 years. I can tell you, as far as the clerk of court's office and my office is concerned, the numbers you see for our offices would not have to come out of the general fund. We have another fund we could utilize that money would come out of. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask Auditor Mueller about the other departments if they have the ability to do so. But if you look at clerk of courts and the information that they house there is primarily, that's most of the information that they take in. That's why when you see the numbers, that's how we differentiated it, working with our supervisor, Lynn Wallace Smith, on how those numbers were broken down, what each department would owe on a yearly basis in order to do this. In my understanding, even with talking to Tim and IT, with the maintenance and the cost of the servers, in the long run, this potentially could even be a cost basically less than what it would cost to continue the way that we're going now. Tim, do you want to please add anything to that?
No, Tim Hanford, Chief Deputy Auditor. Two things that this accomplishes for us. One is our track has been to migrate slowly towards the cloud. It's storage on-prem for us, buying storage, maintaining the storage, the cost keep going up. Cloud is our best solution in the long term for cost savings. Two is this gives us the ability, gives the Archive Center a portal for the general public to research anything, a type of historical data that they are currently creating for us, currently saving for us. This gives us them the ability to be able to do the searches on their own, which will save Todd's current office time and money to be able to provide services for the other county departments.
And let me just add, I know that when we presented this last time, Board of Elections was potentially interested in coming on board. So if there are other departments that see this, that want to come on board, it would even break down the cost even less per office. So it's something that's necessary. It's something that's going to have to happen in some way based on the information that we're getting from IT and how much data that they take up. Something's going to have to be done. We've done our due diligence, and again, it appears that this is the best way that we see now to move forward. So I just want to put it back on your radar, so commissioners, to take a look. It would be an advantage, and it would help out every department in this county to move forward with this in my opinion.
So the total amount is 46,000, but then there's a recurring.
That's a yearly.
That's just, that is
Oh,
a
that's
year,
yearly.
that is, there is no upfront
initial-
cost to do it.
okay.
It's just a,
Just
we could lock in at a 5-year
I see.
annual fee of that amount. There's no upfront cost.
And then, Martha, your Trumbull County Auditor, it looks like it would be more than half of that would be paid from sources other than the general fund, at least.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
We have to look at.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, if all the other ones were general fund, you're talking about about 18,000 a year, roughly.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I remember I went to when you had them in and we had the presentation. I know everything's moving to the cloud, everything's cloud-based, servers are, cumbersome and less secure and more stuff goes wrong with it. So I think, as Tim mentioned, we're moving everything to cloud-based, and I think that's from a security and from just a logistics standpoint, it's probably better that we do that. And again, you can't compare apples to apples because this is a sole source contract. You can't see what other bids are necessarily because this is what they do.
Yeah, and Tim, if you want to speak to that, because we did take we did listen to other
Okay.
companies and
Yes.
talk to other companies.
One of the big things we found out was, this company here is basically providing a service in a very specific market. There really is nobody else that is doing exactly what they're doing.
They're worldwide, they're global.
Yes. So being able to provide that service and being able to stay on top of different forms of data, that's one of the things that's really nice about this. Currently today, our standards could be Microsoft Word or Adobe PDFs. They maintain those very specific types of data sources, and also will assist with moving to new and emerging technologies. So we never ever lose that data due to some technological advance.
Martha, you're just coming on here, and I came in on one of the presentations at the very beginning of the term. And I believe that, if I recall it, this company in particular also does a lot to prevent like bit rot. So when you go to access, every time you go to access something that's on the internet, a document that it can start to fade. They keep like basically an electronic original. So you're not, that original is there and it's not being touched. It's not being touched. And so you're preserving, you're actually preserving. This isn't just for access, it's for preservation.
Absolutely.
Bill Danso, Prosecutor's Office. I just wanted to point out that sole source it's the bidding exception isn't really sole source necessarily. It's the fact that it's already been procured competitively by the GSA federal procurement. So there may be, again, it's not maybe apples to oranges, but there are other vendors that were explored in this.
Yes.
As they were going through this process. So I just wanted to point that out from a purchasing perspective.
Todd, what's time frame on this? Something for,
Listen, if we were able to put it on the agenda and you guys were okay with it, I mean, once that happens, then Tim and his department could get, and Lynn Wallace Smith could get started and get working on it.
you know, as we are doing out of professional courtesy with Mr. Hernandez there, yeah, please.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah.
Give us
probably
any
sitting
opinion on
down
this too before we would make any
Sitting
decision.
down with him, yeah, and Commissioner Bernard, if possible.
Yep, just wanted
Is
to,
that,
just
you know-
wanted to bring it back on your radar because it's a good project for the county in general. Wanted to make sure you guys take a look at it. Don't forget about it.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything before we get to aggregate? Bill Hart.
Bill Hart, Trumbull County Maintenance. This is not forgotten, but I just got all my information back. If we proceed with 2 generators out at CSB, since they don't have any emergency backup, I have 2 quotes. It would be in the rough number of 238,157 even. That would take care of CSB for 2
We're
generators.
gonna appropriate that from when we discuss this
We'll
last.
have to see, monitor the other, see where.
Right, I can look back at the journal action because I thought that it was already. There was a journal action on this already, not an award, but.
No,
journal
yeah,
action.
to go forward with trying to
Right,
get a number. Now I have the
But
number.
we bid it out.
Yes, I did it, and I came close by 2 contracts.
But isn't that? Oh, Sourcewell, okay.
Yeah, they're Sourcewell and.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was looking at Bill because I didn't know if we needed to bid that out because of over the
both
threshold.
companies are Sourcewell companies.
Okay, then.
Okay, we're looking at that bill, and we can. Yes, that's more of the.
Sure.
Casey, did you have anything?
Could I do ARPA before you do?
Yes. Yeah, I know that would be quick. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll have the paperwork for you. Okay, excellent, okay. Extend. All right, so what you have, and I'll try to just put this in, we do have a few things to ask you about. You do have the most up-to-date gas sheet, the set sheet. If you look at your gas sheet, the eligible ones that are on this week's agenda, Warren Richard Radio, West Farmington Village, McDonald Village, Mecca Township, St. Vincent de Paul, those are all in green. And add to the grand total that we have on the sheet. And then I also have Healthy Hearts and Paws on there, that was per last week's
Yep.
meeting. That to add the, what at that point was the, available funds of, 12,847 to their grant. I have that actually ready to go on the agenda, the resolution for that, for next week. Ineligible, just so you understand, is Community Fund Family Outreach Center. So that was a $41,991. You'll see that the bottom line on the spreadsheet is equal to that. So the bottom line is 41,991. That's available funds at this point. This was the total request from the FOC that was denied. But we also need to make a decision. Also, I need to let you know, there's another little wrinkle here that came up this morning. When the land bank invoiced the county for the wing building demo, that invoice contained an estimate of $5,000 for the greening. The greening ended up costing more, so there was an additional payment that needs to be made. It's gonna come out of that 41,900, almost 42,000. I don't know exactly what that is because I think they sent me an invoice for it. Christine and I both agreed that there's a mistake on it, but we'll see what and they haven't responded to us disagreeing with it. So it's either gonna be 365.12 or 2365.12. So the actual funds will either be 41,625.88 or 39,625. Between Julie, Attorney Rogers, and myself, we came up with two options because we need to act quickly on these remaining funds so we don't lose them. Option one, I'm gonna let Julie and Tim explain a little bit more detail about, but it is the idea of a fiber network connecting the county administration building to other county offices located in proximity to the building. I do understand that 40, whatever we have, 42,000 is not gonna be enough for that, but it would lock in those funds for that. We could then use residual funds from some of the other projects to add to it. It would involve what we would need to do, and Julie's actually kind of already started on this, would be to draft an MOU. Also, Tanya had weighed in on this, and this would be an eligible use. But Julie would finish working on the MOU to knock that out to tie up those funds. I'm gonna let Julie start, and then Tim can add to.
You covered it, Martha.
Okay.
Basically, what I've noticed being over on East Market Street, and I'm sure outlying buildings notice the same, is the lack of speed and reliability because we're so far removed from the main service, and Tim can speak to this. I think, and this idea was floated to me years ago, and since broadband is an enumerated use, I think it's a good use of our funds to make sure that all of our county offices in downtown Warren have safe, reliable, speedy access to internet, wired internet. And that'll benefit really the entire population, all the people that we service.
Just really quick.
Okay,
really
go ahead.
speak, that anything, I know that there's this idea that we need to be helping individual, that we need to be helping individual townships, and that's great. But a lot of our county projects, even the ones for our buildings, benefit the county residents, right? If we can serve our residents better in better buildings for some of these things, in places we can have people that come in to a building and it doesn't look bad. Board of Elections was a good thing. People are in there and out of there all the time. If we as county public officials and county, and not that we're trying to do things gold plated, but if anything that makes it more efficient and better service is a good use of these ARPA funds. Go ahead, Tim, sorry.
Tim Hanford, Chief Deputy Auditor. One of the things, and Julie brought it up, is the slow speed to the offices around the downtown Warren area. Currently, all of those offices are connected up through Brightspeed, which they provide a service to us, but it's not a direct link back to the data center which resides in this building. It is a link that rides on their network. Doing something like this could potentially eliminate that piece where data is going outside the area and coming back here. It would provide a direct connection from their offices right back to us, which would increase speeds, increase reliability, and would show great improvement in what they're trying to do in this office.
Commissioners, Mark Goodrich, County Auditor, we've kind of given you an overview of that. The other option that Tanya had, or I'm sorry, Attorney Rogers had mentioned is that you could designate the remaining money to St. Vincent de Paul. They have a larger eligible need than the 25K that has been granted. But it, you know, again, it's kind of your choice on this. We do need to move. I hope that you are having a meeting this week because we have a lot on the agenda, including this, that we need to tie up. But
Martha, if I may, Julie Green, Trumbull
Go ahead.
County, it doesn't have to be either or, it could be both.
True,
Even if we
yes.
put an MOU in place for $5,000, commissioners.
Right.
As money becomes available in 25 and 26, this project can still move forward. And I mean, we're talking about the recorder's office, the archives, the courts, the, who else, Tim? Chief Building Official Office. Of course, my office, you know, I don't have any patients. Veterans Service Commission, and there was one more. So it's sort of
Basically, every essential
basically,
service.
yeah, basically all of the buildings in the vicinity.
I would think that that's the wisest use of it, to put back into our facilities. And start that MOU, even at 5,000, and that can increase down the line, but,
It's,
you know, that's what.
it doesn't have to be either or is what I wanted to point out is we can do both. You can increase St. Vincent de Paul, which we managed. That was the fastest ARPA
Yes.
eligibility determination in the history of
Yeah.
yes,
ARPA stuff.
yeah, and I gave you credit for that before you were here, but I'll give it to you now because it was yours.
They're a great organization.
Yeah.
They need the funds for sure. So,
Gary Newbrow, sanitary. Heritage Drive Commissioner. We based that cost estimate on numbers that were, I don't know, a year ago, and I know I'm gonna come out behind the 8 ball on that with the recent bids we've seen.
I have Russell's cell phone number. He'll
And any
kick
extra
in.
money I can get for Sheridan Drive for that sewer will be more than welcome.
Oh, for the,
If there's residual here, I mean, 41,000 would make my day.
oh, and honestly, that's for a worthwhile project for the school. It's gonna end up being an entire complex out there. There are just so many needs and, you know.
Can I write them all down and have you draw them as a hat?
Who gets the short skirt?
How much you giving health yours?
Pardon me? Okay, that's 12,000. Sorry, 12,000. 847.06.
That takes care of that.
Yeah, that's already been, that's not out of this. What's left is someplace between 39,625 and 41,625, just because of the issue with landing.
I would rather see the money go into a county project with something. I think we did splash the money around the nonprofits and the townships. And although St. Vincent de Paul has a bigger ask, so did Warren Family Mission, so did a lot of these groups that we cut back on. And I'd like to,
I agree.
you know, if this is something we could do that's within the county, that's where I'd kind of like to see it. Of course, my first preference would be fairgrounds, but they don't have an immediate need. They did 850, hasn't been decided yet on the big building yet. But if we can do the broadband thing, I think that's the way to go.
I agree.
And extra money that comes in, There are still some out there that we're
Right,
gonna
we're
get.
gonna have some residual estate homes that you guys will have, well, the next board.
And Gary,
We'll have
that is an
residual.
existing project Gary has, so we
Right.
can add some of this residual into that.
We can move stuff around, this is tying stuff up.
Yeah.
So, and
Gary, just really quickly, is the school aware of what their cost is and how
Yes,
it's gone up?
I had a meeting with them. I went and addressed the board, I want to say back in September. And let them know that after we opened up those bids on Schofield Drive, these costs went up. And I was letting them know that the school may have to contribute more, but we're looking like an extra. I think it's an extra, over $100,000.
That school board is,
Yeah, and I gave them a heads up on that and told them, hopefully when we take the bids in the winter, it'll be less and it won't be that much. We are going to be over budget. From that original estimate. And so if I can lessen that ask from the school, I feel bad. I told them it's gonna cost this much. We opened a bid from Scoville and oh, now it's gonna cost this much. I'm up there in front of the board trying to explain it to them. But if we can get any extra to go toward that would relieve the school.
Well, that's something to put on the list. Also, we did sit here and discuss if we had enough money about the Vienna ambulance. Unfortunately, the other commissioner texted the fire chief the other day for some reason, congratulated him and said, you got your ambulance. And I got a phone call and said, why in the world would she do that? It's not true. I texted her and said, we didn't approve that. I don't know why you sent a text to the fire chief. So they thought for a minute they were excited, they got their ambulance request, and then they didn't. So I can't explain why that happened.
that's unfortunate.
But that still is on the list of if we had big money that came in from other projects that
Well,
wasn't
the problem-
utilized.
Right now, the way the final rule reads, it has to be an existing approved project. And what that means is not an existing project that's been found eligible, but one in which we've gone through the resolution process.
Okay, well, can we do a resolution to give Vienna ambulance $5,000 and then if it comes back in later? More
That's
money
up
than
to
we
you
do that?
guys. I can't make that decision.
Or I'd say, what do we say, there's 41,000 left? Vienna Township really didn't get anything from us,
Yes,
other
it
than
did.
the radio. Radios. How much?
25,000.
25,000 for a township. They got the smallest of any township besides Green. They got nothing because they didn't ask for anything. So why don't we take that 41? And apply. Why don't we
They
take
had
that?
Scoville, it's Stewart, they got Sheridan Drive.
Yeah,
They've been
there's three-
from a lot.
The sanitary projects, yes.
And I
Factory dinner.
I know they
Go way
feel
back.
bad that she said that and then it's not true. And I feel bad too. I'm on the commission that approves their plan, right? They are not in a position to even utilize an ambulance for quite some time. And utilization of that ambulance would be, because I've looked at the draft. Utilization of that would probably be contingent on passing a replacement levy in a couple of years.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, I mean, if you wanna put a little money aside, but I can't see them even using it with, or being able to purchase it and use it within the time period. And I'm a person that encouraged them to apply just because they were having to give back their ambulance, but as I've looked at that to me, I mean, you wanna put a couple thousand in there and just to reserve it as an approved project, and then if you have the money later, add to it, and then if not, use it for something else, you could do that. Again, we're up against, we gotta do all this next week. And we gotta have a meeting. Did I
Can we
say
just-
that?
I'm okay with that.
We just give it to the fire department for supplies and or.
That's not what we would have to. When she looks at these requests,
Okay,
she looks at them for what they're requested. That's not what they've requested.
well, you just said if we gave them money for an ambulance, they didn't get an ambulance, they could put it to something else. That,
No, we could
No,
put
they-
it,
you
we
can't.
could
Yeah.
put it to something else,
Yeah.
right? If you guys could park the money in this request, right? And then if the request that they have, we could approve it for $2,000 or whatever. And then if when we have residual funds from others, if you want to use those residual funds for that and things turn around a little bit faster.
I'm fine with that, just to
And then,
keep the
or,
option open.
or if they don't turn around, or if it doesn't look good for them to be.
But you don't
able to
think
do
we
it.
can do for ambulances and supplies inside the ambulance, but they don't get the ambulance, they can at least buy Band-Aids and masks and oxygen tank or something?
Not unless the request gets changed, and that would involve sitting down with the people involved right now sometime in the next couple of days, very quickly. It was a very
My
different.
fingers are twitching.
I know, I can feel it. right there. You don't really, it's just that I don't listen. I have a cute little nose, but I don't wrinkle it and make things happen. It twitches sometimes when I get a little annoyed, but I can't just make things happen and sprinkle my fairy dust on it. It doesn't work that way. We have an existing request. You can park. Did I mute you right? You can park some money there on that existing one, revisit it later when we have residual funds. Or revisit it later and say, yeah, we'll just use those funds for something else.
I'm fine with using, 1,000 or 2,000 in there and then seeing what comes back. That way the options are open.
Okay.
I will say this, and I say it at the risk of being misquoted, all right? There's a chance that those final rules will change
Right.
and we can revisit other requests. So there's a chance that you might be able to use that couple thousand for something else for the township that's eligible, right? But we can't promise that. Those rules constantly change. We thought that they would be this way before now. I think both Julie and I thought that. The way, what I just said, where you can revisit and like reassess.
I'd say let's do that, because we know for a fact, just based on the bills, we're not gonna spend $250,000 on Tanya. We know we're only at half that.
Right, oh,
She does-
we definitely, there's going to be residual funds and I'm sure I'm gonna have some really fun workshops with the next board to determine how those residual funds.
Okay,
will be
let's do
used.
that then. Let's park it a little bit there and
Okay,
keep
how
it
much park?
5,000.
That's fine.
Right. then
Assuming
the
that
rest-
she agrees to it. Because, 5,000 isn't going to pay for an ambulance.
Yeah.
So it'll be an agreement between the commissioners and Vienna it'll be minimum of 5,000 up to a maximum of what, 175?
That's what we've been doing.
So that's new, so we have to run that
We'll
by
do it,
her.
and if she says that we can't do it that way, you just wanna put the whole thing on the fire.
And ask her, since we're asking, we can then her to ask if we can call it ambulance and supplies for the ambulance up to that. And that way, if we don't get the ambulance, maybe she'll say, yeah, they can go buy a cot or they can go buy something else besides the ambulance. We can ask. We bought cots for other departments. We bought supplies for other departments. We bought things to equip other departments.
I'll try to have a phone conversation with her today or tomorrow.
That would be great. Okay.
Alright, so on next week's agenda, you're gonna have the Healthy Hearts and Paws resolution, a resolution amending the land bank payment. Several amended resolutions to correct amounts similar to what we've had on this week, and then either, two resolutions or an MOU and resolution for the fiber and the resolution for, like,
Okay, I see the bishop was here earlier. That one got denied. Did anyone explain to him why?
I saw him in the hallway, I haven't reached
So-
out, you've been.
Yeah, so working on that closely with them, it's an eligible CDBG grant, but according to, and they can apply, well, so the problem is, we used to be able to fund them with county CDBG dollars. The state no longer allows us to use CDBG dollars within the city limit, so I'll encourage them to apply with the city of Warren.
He's actually in Warren Township.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember?
Okay. All right, well, in any case. That's, I'll circle back with him on that. But in any case, the reason why they cannot fund it is because these funds have to be treated like CDBG. And you have to have an environmental review clearance for the project prior to the end of the year. And given the time frame to do that in, had we known this, earlier this year, they probably could have got it to the finish line, but because we have to have the agreement in place by the end of the year, we don't have time to do the notice of intent to request release of funds and all of that other stuff.
Can you please have a conversation with them? So that.
Yeah, no, I will.
Probably saw it wasn't on the agenda and left, so
I will.
I'm gonna leave it.
That's Reverend Perrin. right?
Yes.
Bishop Perrin. I will.
And
Okay.
they did,
I think part of their facility might be in the city. I don't know.
they, no,
No, none of
it's in the.
Okay.
That's why our county health department was able to go there and work with them instead of the city health
Yeah, I'm
department.
trying to recall why the state wouldn't allow us to utilize CDBG funds back. But in any case, I'll talk to him.
And Commissioners, I just wanna, remind you, Martha, Germany, they were.
I understand. I bet he had the one pending. He's been here attending and asking, and I'll make sure we give him the courtesy and
Yes,
respect of
absolutely.
explaining, so. Okay, Sheriff's Department, do you guys have anything in particular? Can you introduce, Mr. Robotnik?
Yeah, this is Doug Bofinick. He's with.
Nice to meet everybody.
With us. He's gonna be the major. He'll oversee the entire road department.
And he's retiring from Youngstown PD,
That's correct.
30-year career with YPD, so he's bringing some experience of big city life and stuff up to the Sheriff's Department. I'm sure with the road deputies, that'll be well received. Did you have anything?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Attorney Donald Scott on behalf of Don Zenny, I would like to get a copy of the language for Servica. Please.
All right. Hold on, you're looking at me, but I just need it.
You want this, you can have this here.
Why don't we make you copies that way?
You can have that, you can have that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I get a copy of that. Yeah. And of course, I'm sure he wanted to provide anyway, he's sitting with. And you're, sir?
Jason Kement, also with Don's Any Transition Team.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Okay, I think we've gone through everyone now. The meat and potatoes, what we're here for. We've been discussing the aggregation program.
Commissioners, those of us not involved.
Those not involved,
Okay,
you can go. It's free to go.
Wait, sorry, Commissioners, can you align on what your meeting schedule is next week before we do that? Because
Yes.
some of us have agenda items and we just need to plan if we have or don't. I'm sorry, I just,
Didn't we have a meeting?
next week.
We do, but we have
Workshop
the
is-
preliminary hearing in the court across the street at 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's right.
So it's on Thursday tonight.
What I'll do is,
Okay.
when we leave here, I'll call the court, I'll call the attorney. See, one, if we need to be there, and two, if they've changed anything, and then tomorrow. We can make an announcement of, let's plan on the workshop Tuesday, because we're good with that. And then the meeting potentially would have to be Thursday if we're tied up on Wednesday. It'd have to be Thursday or Friday, but I think it's just one day on Wednesday, and we should be free for Thursday. But I'll find out for sure.
Okay. Because we do have, not to jump, but I want to make sure.
We'll have to do a special,
I mean, there's no chance that your litigations even continue.
the judge said, we were there last time, no more add anything, he was done with the BS, we're having a preliminary this day and trial this day.
Okay. We just have some 911 employees that we hope to put on for next week, and I would like to, I don't want to hold up those types of drops until after our first.
So we have to announce it correctly if we're gonna move the meeting to a different day.
Absolutely.
Well, you have till tomorrow, right? So decide that, okay, that's all, thank you.
Yeah,
You can announce it tomorrow.
we'll know by tomorrow, we'll make phone calls, we'll know by tomorrow. And we'll hand deliver it to Ray with a book.
This is it.
Apartments all over.
Okay.
It's come on over.
Right.
All right, let's take a quick 2-minute break, is we good? Take a restroom break, control their drinks.
We'll be in market.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be.
I know, right? Last week I didn't at all.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's the topic.
Okay, all right. Yes.
He mentioned, he said.
That's all right, we can step out for a second. You can leave your stuff here, we're gonna be fine. Sure. Tom, thanks for being here with us. Now we have four of two commissioners to actually listen and actually hear apples to apples. You know, I'm sorry for the way the process is kind of going back and forth. It's a little dysfunctional, as you see, with organizing the change and everything else we have. So
We do the same process all over Ohio. Not much.
so the floor is all yours.
All right. I passed these out last time or maybe 2 times ago. I added a few more things, maybe take a look at. So, very, very, high level. So Buckeye Energy's been here for, 14 years now. We worked with Trumbull County. My dad worked in Trumbull County for 30 years at Lord of Town. His badge number was 8 over there, so he was there very, very early on. My brother had an accounting office in Howard Township. He's just getting ready to retire. He sold that to a local person, and that they employ about 10 people over there in Howard Township. So, as you know, with the program, ends in March. Now, the suppliers I talked to really want to get this done as soon as possible. So I asked for it to see if we could pass some legislation tomorrow. Now, 14 years I've been here, we've had no residential complaints. Everybody who really calls in really wants just in the program. We haven't had any issues. And so really to get prepared, we need to get a mailing list, pricing and everything. And we're a little different in that we do a fixed price every time. So 2 years ago, the city of Warren, the fixed price was variable and it took sky high. We think prices again are going to go very high. In the next year or two, it could be worse 2 years from now, that anybody on a variable price will pay a very high price. So we'd like to lock in rate and then lock in.
What is your opinion, or why is your opinion with that? With the new administration coming in, energy friendly, they're already got the first well signed in Mahoney County, and they say they're all back in business now. We're producing.
Yeah.
So why would that make prices go up?
A lot of that drilling is gasoline or natural gas.
Right.
Natural gas is low.
Right.
That's not the problem in electric.
But isn't that what fuels the electric plants now, more so than coal?
No, it's a different part of the bill. The commodity part, the generation part was one part of the cost, but there's another part of the bill that's grown tenfold from today till June. So if you want to go to slide, let me get to that in a minute. I just want to go to slide 3. What's going on with Ohio Edison? Ohio Edison had some very, very reasonable rates. It was we were lucky to beat them by 1/4%, 0.5%. Now we can beat Ohio Edison by 2 cents. It's a big margin. So what happened in 2022 was when NOPEC put back 550,000 customers, including everybody in Warren. That made auctions very risky. So a supplier doesn't know what they're bidding on. Are those 500,000 customers going to need to be served by my bid or not? So the bids went very, very high. It's not a competitive rate, which raises prices for everyone else. So that's what happened on page 3. That's what happened there when this chart spiked. And it's just going back up. It's getting even higher. So CRA International does the auctions for First Energy.
and this is their quote, they're concerned, there were concerns by other suppliers related to aggregation triggered by the recent PCO activity around NOPAC. Concerns that may increase the risk premium realized in auction. So that Ohio, people with Ohio Edison are just paying an artificially high rate from an auction. And that's just the price of everything else. So why should other suppliers bid real low? You can raise their rates up too. So it's really driving up costs everywhere. So there's another component. This is page 4. So June 2024 to May 2025, that's the current term we're in. Capacity is only 29. Starting in June, it goes to $270. A tenfold increase. Now, 12 months from now, people think that's going to double again, it'd be close to $600. It's the capacity portion of the cost. Yes, gas is cheap, the commodity is cheap, and it does have, gas was always around 30%. It's more like 40 now. It used to be a third nuclear, third coal, third. It's starting, the pie is starting to shift. More gas, less coal, and then nuclear is about the same. You still have Davis, Best, and Perry nuclear plants nearby, so that doesn't change. It's the capacity rates.
What about our 2 power plants?
Yeah, so they're added in the PJM as well, so that has, but when they bid into these auctions, they bid high too, so they're getting 202. So they're gonna make a lot of money next year, is what I'm trying to say here. They should do very well. They're gonna get paid, this year they got paid $29. Next year they're getting paid $270. So 29 is probably losing money. They've probably struggled the last 2 years, I think. I don't have any idea on their finances at all, so I really don't. But they will do well next year. So, we really need to implement something. I know you want pricing, and I get pricing from the current supplier. I really would have preferred to get a couple other bids. I just don't know at this point, do I have time to do that?
You got till tomorrow to give us something.
Yeah, but it will be a fixed rate. And it won't be contingent upon customers rolling to a variable. So I think the other bid you're going to hear is kind of either a bait and switch or kind of a short-term teaser rate. Some people call it a teaser rate.
Well, you heard Wall Street, they said 6.5, that's what, that's.
Yeah. That's contingent upon, I think, rolling to an unknown variable. So after that, I believe it's 14 months. So after that 14 months, every resident will have to get their checkbook out. Say, here you go, put in your number.
We're like 4.3 now with you, is that
4.5.
4.53? They're offering 6.5.
Contingent upon.
Contingent upon, I agree, I understand.
Their membership, which is extremely hard to get out of. I mean, cities that have gotten out.
I mean, well, I will say this, while the county was, locked in at a very favorable rate, the city of Warren was, seeing big increases of 12 and it was unreal. They were with NOPAC.
Yeah, I even got a call yesterday from a Warren resident, still wanting to get into the Trumbull County program. And I think a lot of these some kind of employees are in Warren. Areas. So I wish I could help them. Warren City Council members wanted to switch and leave and work with me, but that just was not able to happen.
Well, why do we not have, like, we have pockets. There's people in Vienna that called me, they live in Vienna, and they said they called, they can't get on it. They got blocks in their neighborhood that are dead zones in there where they couldn't get anything, they had to go online, and they ended up getting it for 8.7% out of a company out of Texas or something. They said, because the aggregate program we had with the county didn't include their street, didn't include their neighborhood, they were voids. Why does that happen?
As far as I know, it doesn't.
Because Diana said they're covered, but I got a sister, as a matter of fact, she lives on Warner Road. Couldn't get in the program. She has a Hubbard mailing address, but she's Vienna Township, she has Brookfield Fire or whatever, she's in a corner thing where they are on Warner Road and nobody on her street can get an aggregation program with the county.
Yeah, I can definitely help.
Cause she called the township and they said, yeah, we got dead zones here, sorry.
Shouldn't be, so I'd be happy to help anybody in this situation.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, so it's Energy Harbor, now Dynegy.
Right.
Maybe relying on Google Maps or something.
Well, she went in and tried to log in and said your address is not covered for this program. So she went down and she found
I have a program manager at Dynegy who manually enters something.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Didn't know that was a possibility, but
Yeah.
which ones are out for the county? Warren City is out. Liberty Township, all Liberty Township residents are out. Any others? Brookfield.
Is Warren City gonna be out again? I know they've been out in the past.
Warren City is a member of, and that takes 11 months to get out of or something. And it has to be 11 months prior to a certain deadline date. It's like every 3 years. If we do this calendar on this, go. Just every 3 years, you have to notify them 11 months and something, 9 to 11.
I don't mean to interrupt,
Yes.
just, you know why, you know why.
So,
Because your rates have gone up.
That's right, they have exponentially. So I can't do anything about it.
yeah, so when someone from Warren calls or Liberty Township, I offer advice on others. To anybody. So the program saved $32 million. So we compared first the Ohio license rates versus that. 32 million for that. I know NOPEC is famous for talking about their loan programs, but PACE programs are available right on the PACE website. And grants are available as well. So the Board of Commissioners can customize a grant program. You don't have to just take or some another supplier. The things I wanted to go through was goes to variable price.
These are all, they have to be 3-year deals, can't be a 1 or 2.
Well, there's two things, two contracts. One was with a broker, then supplier, or if you want to do membership with NOPEC, you just get a membership agreement and you never see the supplier agreement. They have like a wall between their members, local governments, and their supplier. Show you that agreement. You can feel free to ask for a copy, but I've never seen it. And there's a similar organization to NOPEC in Southern Ohio. I asked them for their agreement, and they sent me something marked public version. I saw the correct thing. That was.
But that doesn't answer why it's 3 years instead of 1 or 2 or
Oh yeah.
5 or what.
Yes. Yes, we can do, so the 3 years was with Buckeye, which could be shorter if you wanted to. And then the supplier agreement is that, I don't know how long. Let's say I get offers of 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. You're free to pick any of those terms. But one is the term of the broker agreement. That's typically just what we do. They get longer. Those local governments don't favor that, and shorter, they don't favor it either because they don't want to do this every year.
And we are coming into a new board, and it's something, we're picking something that the new board has to live with for the next 3 years. And as you saw earlier, we're trying to avoid that as much as possible. And if we can't kick the can down the road to the next board, if we make a decision tomorrow, I would like the flexibility of having them to have an option on their own right to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
responsible for what we do.
right. So those board members have worked with Buckeye for 14 years now. We've worked in, we worked in Hubbard Township on their own township accounts. So outside of this, okay. We work with actually most townships for the streetlights. Because that's now shoppable. In the past, that wasn't shoppable. Now you can save money on the streetlights. We've done that with many, probably 10 or so townships now. Just some of the things that other mayors and other groups have said. So in 2022, when prices went from about 6 cents to 12, it was a lot of unhappy NOPEC communities. So Cleveland Heights mayor said this is not something I'd be willing to subject my residents to again after this experience. And so the residents were let down. And in this case, there was an immense failure that caused, I hope not financial harm to residents. What's really strange after making statements like that is Cleveland Heights stayed a member and they're still on variable rate. And really nothing, it's not like anything's changed. Until the other day when he said, oh, we'll do a fixed rate. This is the first time I've heard this until. No, that's it. So I think 2 times ago I mentioned they want everybody to pay the same. Now, I guess this time you can get a special rate, and everybody else like Warren and Liberty are paying variable. Which coming up based on capacity rates, that's going to be very high.
Let's talk about grants a little bit, page 6.
Yes.
One thing I've received phone calls from Liberty Township, they said they got 170,000 from NOPEC last year. City Warren got a grant back from NOPEC last year. What have you given back? When I talked to Palmer, they said, we don't give grants back, we roll that into the savings of the customers. So they rolled into their fees of what they charge, I guess, or their costs of what the customers pay.
Yeah, so what we've done now initially it was just over $1 million flat fee. That was stimulus money First Energy had. Dished out rather than spending that themselves, they dished out to local government. So Trumbull County got just over $1 million for that. Now, what we did after that, it's we set it up so it's $5 per customer, $1 for the county. So the townships get $5 a customer per customer. That's flexible. That's what the old boards did. We can change that to however you want it. It's just you have to watch. The higher that gets, the more adds to the price. So yeah, so that's flexible. Can be flexible. Take the bid, see what if you want to change that or not. So yeah, that's an option. The rest of this. So yeah, so an opt-out letter. The one page you're looking at, there's the opt-out letter. I highlighted how it's sent. So yeah, there's a letter there. So it's my interpretation that if you have a fixed rate, it says the fixed rate. If you have a variable rate, it should be like a mathematical formula. It should be you're going to be charged this index plus an adder. That's not what happens. Residents of Trumbull County would get a letter like this with just a bunch of words. So it would say, your price is subject to supply costs, projected average customer bill amounts, ancillary services, capacity, transmission. It would be so vague, they would have no idea. So it would, I don't think, be a very popular program to just bill somebody variable rate and they have no idea how high it's going to be. So I do have an example of their customer service. So since my company's inception, we've never had a complaint go to the PUCO anywhere. I mean, that's to me really not treating a customer very well. So I think NOPEC has 14 cases. The Carl Hennon kind of sticks out to me. He claimed he didn't get a letter. No letter, and they charged him 6 cents a kilowatt hour, it went to 12. He just wanted his money back. He just wanted a difference. And they fought him 2 years, made him drive to Columbus to argue the case, which he didn't do. After 2 years of fighting it, that's certainly not how we do business. That's not the way we treat Trumbull County residents. I personally worked with them to fix the issue. No need to go any further. Never had any customer question or complaint that I just couldn't handle with them, and then not have to get attorneys involved. NOPEC's attorneys are almost $500 an hour, so they would rather spend $500 an hour than to help out the local customer that claims he didn't get a letter at all and doesn't know anything about this program. So that's the one that sticks out in my mind there. They filed to dismiss, I think 6 different times. They filed to dismiss the case rather than just give his money back. Would have been like $100. So they probably spent fighting him and just helping him out. We don't do that. I would never do that. Some other thing, what you're looking at there might not jump out exactly what it is, but if you compare the yellow, so the sheet before has 2019 management fees, natural gas, $4.4 million. If you go to the next page, they have it reclassified as grant. I just thought that was odd. So we're competing head to head, we're doing the same service, but they're a nonprofit, we're for profit. So I think what they're trying to do there is saying, oh, we got a grant. We're not like a competitor, we're a for-profit entity, which it says right in their auditing reports. Vast majority of their funds are commissions from broker. But what we'd like to do is get the bid from the current supplier, which is Dynegy, and then be able to do another deal with when the board's in place. So we would have to change our term to match supplier term. It's fine. It's not.
Lisa, how would we word that? Or is that a change you can make for tomorrow?
I mean, yeah, I can do whatever you need me to do for your resolution. I would untable it and then we would have to change. When it's getting voted through, are you changing the amount? The time?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's changing the time to.
Yeah, do,
Just change it to.
we can do 14 months. So that's the key about 14 months. So that goes from March to May of 2026. June 2026 is when I think that's really, so that's kind of the sweet spot, yes. And I think that's why I page 14 as well. Is that we don't know capacity rates happening. So if we did like a 2-year deal, but I think it's the cheapest way to cheapest term.
14 months.
Yeah.
And then when would the opt-out be for that then, or when would the, Maybe
Yeah,
just-
so 2 months prior.
2 months for?
So letters would go out in March.
Okay, so at least it gives them a year to see it on their own, and this time next year we'd be deciding again whether to re-up or not, just like we're doing now and be on the new board. I'm agreeable with
I'm
that.
good with that.
Okay. All right, Tom, I think we've had good service with you.
I really appreciate it.
Nothing personal with this, we just gotta, you gotta shop it. We can't just
Yeah,
assume
yeah,
with any contract that we do.
okay.
And being that CCAO did come to us and say, hey, we deal with 74 counties, whoa, you gotta jump on board with us. We had to entertain that, and then NOPEC jumped in and said, wait a minute, we're here,
Sure,
so
sure.
we had to be fair to everybody that wanted to give a pitch to us. And
Yeah, well, I appreciate the
But-
opportunity.
the conciliation making here of going to 14 months instead of 3 years gives a little more leverage with the new board coming in, that we can re-up with you and there's no harm, no foul. Yeah.
I think they would appreciate it.
And if they do decide, hey, we want to control it somewhat, they'll have the option.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
thank you so
Great,
much.
thank you.
And you can hang, come back in if we have any other further questions. If you can do that, that would be good.
Excellent.
Well, sorry, our meeting was canceled.
Yes, that's all.
Oh, how many households do you have right now?
We have about 160,000.
BELL.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is a lot. Take care.
Thank you.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right, you can send that in. Yes. Because of the fact that they need to opt out, we don't want to stress anybody that we have to make it. Hey, guys.
Would you like to set the table?
Yep, right at the table. You got about same time frame. Just your best pitch in the quickest amount of time with just pertinent things we need to know. Yes, sir.
Just, I'll just walk over here, if that's okay. And I also gave this to incoming Commissioner Hernandez as well, so.
This is our official letter back. The reason that I came, not only to answer your questions, but I approve all the pricing that comes off my desk. Pricing that left my desk that shouldn't have come. Because of the term.
6.5 actually.
What's that?
6.5 actually.
Yeah, 6,499. So that should not have left my, should have not left my desk. That's what happens when you're in a hurry, sometimes mistakes happen, so I apologize. That's clear. But we do offer you this price, which is $7.99. That is a price that we can hold comfortably for the next 14 months. We believe that that will be well below the other offers you're likely to see. You may have heard that throughout the Northeast Ohio and Northeast.
This should say from March to May, right?
Yes.
It says on the cover sheet here fixed from May 25 to May
It should say
26.
March, that's my.
Should say March.
Yeah. that's
Sorry.
my-
Just trying to compare apples to
Yep,
apples.
it's March, okay.
It's March to May.
Yeah.
So that would be the fixed price. You've heard a number of presentations about all of the other resets that exist, but
I want to talk about a couple of things, particularly because Mr. Bellish is here. Mr. Bellish has been found guilty of lying about NOPEC in court. I don't know what he said to you or didn't, but I want to preface by saying that we took great exception to the things that he said about us and we took him to court in Cuyahoga County. We agreed to a stipulated settlement, which he would not say certain things. And then he broke that settlement. He went back to court. He was found guilty. So I know that he probably couldn't help himself and talked about us. I don't want to do that. He's got a business to run. How he runs it is his business. We've never had any issues with any of our competitors. But I will tell you that I never cottoned very well to having the truth. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But lepers don't often change their spots. That's kind of what my gut says, at least part of page 2. So, but let me tell you what I think is the difference between NOPEC and the offer that you get from Buckeye, which is a credible company. Right? I'm not saying they're terrible here. Or the CCAO. I was a county commissioner for 17 and a half years. I was on that board for probably 9 of them. I'm a believer in CCAO, and that's probably a pretty good program too. So I'm not here to talk about their value propositions. That's on them. I am here to tell you what I think is the difference between what we do as a member-owned, member-directed organization, Council of Governments. All of our benefits, all of our work accrues to our members and to the people they represent. That would be you, the townships, and all of the small businesses we represent now. About 50,000 different small business accounts between our natural gas and our electric accounts, and 243 communities as of last week.
How many customers do you have?
Our electric book is just around 494,000, I think, the last time I looked. And our gas book is around 10 or 15. So the whole book is around.
So is that because you have a lot of the major cities? Because I know CCAO has 400,000 in 72 counties. Mr. Bellish says he has 160,000. Would your numbers being equal, is that because of you have some major cities there? Because I know you don't have all the counties. If
Well, the
CCAO has
vast number
72
of governments that we represent are townships.
Okay.
We have 5 or 6 county members. Rick is a member, Estes is a member, Lake is a member, Mahoney is a member.
And if I can jump into, they don't have 72 counties for aggregation. They do 2 things for counties with CCAO. They do your municipal buildings, so they provide that program as well as aggregation. So they don't have 72 with aggregation programs in these counties.
Okay.
So
That would be a
just
surprise, though.
just a clarification.
So I think that we represent pretty much every form of government, local government in the state, townships, villages, cities, county. I live in a place called Sugarbush Mills. That's OPEC's smallest village, 75 households. And we also have the city of Cleveland as a natural gas customer. We are in Athens, we're in Clark County, we're in York County, right? So we have a number of folks.
In our county, you have Warren, Brookfield, and Liberty. So we were signing with you. Would we have 100% coverage our whole county then? Because we have pockets right now. I brought up earlier, we have some
Yes, yeah,
streets that aren't in either. We have streets in Vienna that aren't on county segregate with Bellish. They aren't on Brookfield. They get weird where they have a mailing address of Upper Township, but they are in Vienna Township limits, but they're serviced by Brookfield Police and Fire. You know, and there's a whole street that can't get anything.
It depends on if they're served by the uni in Hubbard or in, it just depends because municipal electric systems are not eligible for aggregation. And if they're served by a co-op. So with that exception, yes, we would cover all those folks. And that helps to have the contiguous boundaries all under one. because that makes the mapping a lot easier.
We're very good at.
So like people in Niles can't get it because they're
I
municipal.
was gonna say, so you wanna look at Niles and I believe Gerard. I believe Niles and Gerard both are the outliers. I could be wrong with Gerard, but I
Gerard,
think
yeah,
Niles.
Gerard's not.
Gerard.
It might be Union Falls.
I don't think Gerard's a member then.
Yeah, they are their own.
Okay, but
Oh,
I do know that Niles is what that is what she's referring to, the municipalities when they have their own.
And what's the other, what's Jack?
Newton
Newton Falls,
Newton
isn't it?
Falls.
Yeah,
Newton Falls.
I thought so.
Jack, used to be the
That's manager.
Haney.
city manager, yeah, Jack Haney.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Niles and Newton Falls.
Hey,
They
he's
have
still
their
with
own.
NOPEC, isn't
yeah.
he? Yeah. Some capacity or?
We have an ambassador program.
Okay.
And so he's one of our ambassadors, and we have a lot of retired members who still want to be our advocates, so they're out there doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I remember him with NOPEC, going back.
We have, I think, a number of things that are, we've seen a lot of. So you have our price. We are a membership organization, so what you do is join our membership organization. That's different than a 1 or 2 or 3 year term. There are certainly rules to get in and out, and people can come and go at least one community. 2 communities. That's good. One was the city of Shaker Heights that wanted to have its own aggregation, so its own. Its pricing has not been. But we get that people get to make those choices. We do offer a palette of services that we think makes us very different. Aside from the fixed price that you would get, we do offer all kinds of prices, probably 5 or 6 other prices to people that they can get on our website and select. We have learned over time, commissioners, that not one shoe does not fit all feet. We have people who want a longer fixed price. We have people who always want to have the best price. We have people who want 100% green product. And we have a range of those on our website. NOPEC customers are free to pick any of those products at any time and go back and forth as much as they would like. There's never a charge. There's never a fee for exiting. They can leave anytime they want. There is a fee if a community leaves without proper notice because we're buying things to be delivered to your communities. The government, all the governments who have this common Council of Governments agreement have agreed that they don't want to pay for electricity or natural gas that's not going to their community. So we ask people to give us notice. Sometimes, depending on the window, that's as little as 6 months. Sometimes it's as little as a year. Typically buy things out there. So that stuff happens. And the other thing that we're, I think, very different. So we don't have the same profit motive. Not that we don't have to get paid to keep the doors open, we do. But let me tell you about something that happened recently. It's a really bad weather pattern that happened for about 6 or 8 months. Then we had a whole bunch of world economies go into turmoil when Russia invaded Ukraine. And there was an absolute run on natural gas around the world. If you recall, the folks in Russia decided they were going to turn off a major natural gas supply pipeline from Western Europe. And as a result, every bit of natural gas in this country, Canada, around the globe got bought up. What happened was remarkable pricing. In that environment, I could not provide my customers with the price that I like. The safety net design in Ohio. And already lots of small businesses, lots of industrial customers were already back to that safety net on the advice of their advisors. And I took 550,000 people off my rolls, put them where they could get the safest, best price for that period of time. No one's ever done that. And a lot of people didn't like it. That's what the safety net was designed for. We asked those folks to come back to us, and we knew that about 6 or 7 months, the wheels would turn and that safety net price would be higher than mine. And about 94% of my customers came back when I asked them to. That's a pretty selfless thing to do. OPEC is not about Chuck Kuiper or about the name OPEC. We're about serving your customers the way you would serve. That's what we do. We have a string of economic development programs, not because I particularly want to be in the economic development business, but because mayors and commissioners have said, we've got these rotten parts of our community where the buildings are falling down. Can you help us? That's what she is. We've become one of the largest property sales, clean energy or PACE lenders in the state, if not the only meaningful. We have a $30 million loan created with $10 million of our dollars funds for these kind of projects. And we're doing them in communities everywhere. We're doing libraries, churches, small businesses, government, all of those things. The other difference is another program we have that's different. So we provide grants to all of our community. Not that everybody does. You probably get grant offers from some of the others. But our grants don't go back into a fee. No one pays more. No one pays less. If I give grants, we don't give grants. We give grants because we have 900,000+ customers. We sit down and negotiate with our supply chain, which we bid pretty regularly. Our current supplier for natural gas and electricity is a Florida-based company called Next Era Energy Services Ohio. Team lead visit them. Sometimes councils and others want to see them. We're happy to take you down if you want to see what they look like. We're arrange virtual meetings. Every drop that we buy is competitively bid through a trading floor that looks like Wall Street. On top of which that we've competitively bid and selected them. We're in the process now to do that for next year starting. That bid will be live probably by March. But the dollars that we get for our grant program are directly related to the savings that we share with those people. So when I sat down to negotiate my contract, we knew that there's a certain industry average for what companies pay to identify electric customers, what companies pay to sign those customers. So when I sat down to negotiate, I said to those suppliers, you're lucky, you don't have to do it A, B, or C anymore. I'll do them for you. But I don't think it's fair that your shareholders get to keep all that money. I'd like my shareholders to get some. And there's some negotiation. We have nothing, 100%, we ended up something. So we provide every year grants to our communities for energy efficiency. We now are, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, probably nearing the $60 million mark of grants that we have given in the last decade. So we think that's me. We have somebody who will, by the way, our grants would go to every one of your townships. That's how it works. It's based on the number of community members who sign up, opt out. So they would get that check. Then each of our counties gets an amount as well. Those tend to range between 25 and 50,000 for the county umbrella, and then based on the number of households who are using the service, the grants go to the locals. So that kind of everybody. That's the basis of our value proposition. We also probably have become one of the largest advocates for the general public in places where rates are made and in the legislature. One of the few folks who not only advocated against, but fought very hard against what we all know is House Bill 6. We spent a lot of time, energy, effort, and money trying to stop that train from rolling out of the station, but we did. But we do that. We intervene in every rate case. We intervene in every transmission case that we think is going to have a cost impact on our customers. And I can show you millions of dollars that customers, whether they're NOPEC customers or not, save because of that. Being in all the places where those decisions are made, a big difference. I'm 100% positive that no one else that you are going to talk to today is in that space at all. CCAO is, as much as it might be interested in here, but they They don't intervene in rate cases. There is a current rate case with First Energy, which is, you guys have Ohio Edison out here. So that's a big deal for you. And we monitor this thing to try to make sure that we also monitor what they bill, what they charge, and on more than one occasion have been responsible for money going back on everybody's bills because some thought they overcharged. Right. So we do those kind of things, right? It's about people helping people, neighbors helping neighbors. Mayor of Warren is on our board of directors, for example. Jack Haney was on our board of directors for a number of years. Jack Simon was the initial Trumbull County. Way back when I was a commissioner, I served on Jack. I served on Jack. So that's who we are, what we are. I'm going to let you guys now kind of talk about the other stuff. But I just wanted to kind of give you that frame. Any questions for me about that?
With 14-month term, and we can opt out in 12 or whatever, or let you know 2 months advance and get out.
Yeah, we can get you all those documents. That's in the Council of Governments agreement. So yeah, I think there's a time frame if you wanted to get out that's probably closer because we're buying stuff as much as a year. So we probably want to know your intention as soon as possible. And then whether there's a fee or not, we can work on your exit strategy.
Well, what we'd like to do, and we brought this up with Mr. Bellis too, is he had a 3-year deal. And we said, you know, there's a new board coming in. And for us to strap for 3 years isn't fair, as you saw some of the other moves we made here today. So we said, let's look at 14 months. And that way they got a year to evaluate the 799. Which we thought was gonna be 6.5, but we've got a year to evaluate it.
Again, my
And
apologies for that mistake.
And then the new board coming in will make the decision next year at this time, whether they want to renew again for that or longer term at that point. And we feel too also coming to the new federal administration, with Trump coming back in too, see what happens with energy over the next 4 years. We'll know a year in the trend that it's doing.
I think that's not unreasonable. We'd be certainly willing to do that. I don't think you want to wait till 2 months to give the notice because there's a whole lot of that process.
Well, again, we could do it this time next year, December, and if we're in with you till May, and then that gives the time frame. Right now, we're in until March with the other thing, so.
I'm just really honest. I think you need at least 6 to 7 months. There are regulatory things that have to be filed, et cetera. So I think you need that kind of window to make yourselves comfortable. If it's going to be a May ending, you're probably talking.
But December's due, if we kept it at this point where we are.
It could be.
It was doable for the other company, that's what I'm saying, it's doable.
I'm making.
We went apples to apples.
As long as we're in conversation, so you gotta let us know what your thoughts are.
Right, yeah.
So,
That's what I'm saying, I want the new board to get in, see what it's about, evaluate it, and myself too. This is my first time, I inherited the last one. It's, I'd like to see too how things are trending and stuff. The fixed rate thing could be good, could be bad, we don't know. I don't know.
Well, there's no doubt that the best fixed rate.
I know we're paying for
anybody
something
is-
now, but
That's what I would call legacy price, given what's happened. And we'd be happy to give you plenty of education. We do that. Go to council meetings, we go to work sessions. We can, we have great resources on bringing you up to speed on what's happening in the industry. Nothing that Mr. Trump is going to do is going to change what's going to happen in electricity. In what's called the PJM market area, which is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and a dozen states who all get regulated by that independent system grid operator. Those wheels are in motion. Everybody who's in that space is going to deal with the best price in that 14-month window. So at the end of that period of time, June of this year, everybody knows that prices are going to go substantively because of called capacity charges. Happy to explain that to you.
you just want to know with that stuff.
But capacity charges are going to go up.
29 to 270 or whatever. we
And,
discussed.
and Mr. Bellish has often blamed me for that. They're completely unrelated things, just so you know. The market space on which that is happening has some real issues that have nothing to do. Mr. Bellish, Mr. Kuiper, Mr. Fry, talk to just like Palmer or CCAO or Ohio or anything like that. So those rates are due to lots of things involving the energy industry, retirement of carbon assets like coal plants, the pipeline clogging, brought online. Add to that, everybody wants the data center, everybody wants these things and that things, the cloud storage I heard you talk about, that is where those things reside, and they take enormous amounts of power. Make sure that we all have that. That's what happens through an auction process that me and my little old company could possibly influence. So just saying, those are the kind of things that I think we can help you understand. Again, whether we're a resource for communities, whether you select us or not, we can share those resources with you so that you have that understanding. We're in the public service business. All right, I'll stop. Go ahead.
And to that, and we've talked about before, your folks are going to receive this huge increase that they don't know is coming. And we're very, very good at getting that information out to your public so that they understand. They won't like it, but we'll hold your hands and basically say, here's what's going to happen, and give them all the information that they hopefully need to understand why the price is going up. So
Yeah, I think generally folks think that's a 2 to 3 year ouch. There's a number of things that I think the grid system operator and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission are trying to do. Make it a smaller window. We'll see, like they're waiving permit things, getting things in the pipeline quicker, et cetera. But again, that's a day we can give you happily do a work session on that kind of thing. So, and we're doing that in townships as well. So we could do around that.
So I just want to direct you to, I passed this out earlier. I know you've seen it because I dropped it off in the stuff from last week, but just want to go down through this very, very quickly because you've heard a lot about these things as well. And the reason that I wanted to provide this was so that you could really compare between our offer and our organization as well as Buckeye and CCAO. It's just really a straight up comparison of the different things that we offer. So we do competitive bidding. Obviously, Mr. Kramer just talked about we're going out for a new RFP for our supplier. So we're going through that bidding process in the next year. Same thing as CCAO and Buckeye do the same thing. So it's kind of the same. We provide education. I just talked about that as far as really trying to give you the tools that you need to help your residents understand what's going on and communicating with your townships, et cetera, and being a partner with you. We're council government, meaning we are a not-for-profit company. So that definitely distinguishes us between the other two organizations. We will be providing, we talked about this early on, an upfront grant. This grant would be provided to you in the March-April timeframe. It's unrestricted and it's based upon how many households are on your mailing list. So that is money. We heard in the commissioners meeting today about lots of people needing money. So for many different projects, this could go to any of those that you felt were appropriate. And then you would get an annual grant that Chuck also talked about. It would go not only to your commissioner fund, but also to the townships for their use. We do have small business energy audits. We found out that energy audits are the foundation for folks understanding what to do, the next step for them to do any kind of energy efficiency types of projects. So we provide those at low or no cost to your participants. Chuck talks about the PACE and STEP loans. I did give you, last week, I gave you an example from Oberlin, I believe it's Oberlin and Lorraine, of a small pizza shop that used NOPEC funds to get new energy efficiency elements. So I provided that example to you. And that's a great way for your small businesses to get energy efficient type things that are really just going to hit their bottom line and really help them to be a much more successful business. We have a sponsorship donation. So if there's a project or a fireworks or whatever type of things that the community does, we do provide sponsorship dollars back to those, and that goes directly to that organization. And that's of your choosing. We have Do Not Knock program. I do not know if Warren has taken advantage of Do Not Knock. I should have looked that up, but a lot of cities like
I don't
that.
think so. They're just going through those pieces right
Okay. A lot of cities like that because of the door-to-door unscrupulous sales folks that go through. And this is really just came up through our board because they're saying we've got people preying on our elderly folks. And that's one of the programs that was established. We do educational programs for schools, senior centers, libraries, you name it. If there's someone that wants to have some kind of a conversation about energy, we can provide someone to provide that. We handle PCO paperwork, as do the other two entities. We do that for you as well. We offer many different pricing opportunities for customers under the NOPIC umbrella. So instead of them going out into the marketplace where there's a lot of predatory practices, they can shop, if you will, under the NOPIC umbrella and have the same terms and conditions that are safe for them to do so. And they can go between those plans every month, bounce back and forth all over the place. So that's a real benefit to folks. We do offer a preferred pricing program for your specific municipal load. So for any of your buildings, we offer a program that's at cost, meaning there's no additional margin put on, and that's a member benefit to our participants, and that really helps governments with their energy spend. We do have 100% renewable options. Some of our communities do take that as a way for them to meet their goals. That's available if you have any interest in that. Chuck already talked about the advocacy that we do down in Columbus and in DC. And we've saved Ohio consumers, not just NOPEC members, but Ohio consumers over $477 million since 2022. And that's real money that stays in people's pockets. So that's that's something we're very, very proud of that we've been able to do.
Probably since the beginning, not since 2022.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's just 3 years.
Oh.
Well, we did get some
You
stuff.
got the gas one?
We got the gas one was 200 million. We got
Yeah,
that reduced.
yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
and lots of others.
Yeah.
There's a coalition of folks.
There's
that
those three. That's what I pulled it from, was these three. Yeah. We do provide newsletter content, web content, all of those types of things that you can provide not only to your residents, but townships also would be able to provide that to their folks. You have a design relationship manager who is here. You don't just hear from them once every time the term is up.
Every township.
Right. Every township.
All see somebody.
And-
We sponsor a township, dinner meetings, we do that.
And we have a best-in-class US-based call center in the Midwest. They talk like us, they know where we are. So that's very, very helpful to our participants to be able to talk to someone and get real answers. So that's really what we'd like to do for you to evaluate our program versus the other two opportunities that you're looking at. We think we provide a great price and we provide a lot more of those benefits that are over and above the price that you can't get from anything else.
Okay, thoughts, questions?
194, you get the terms of the 14 months. Do we need to see that? Of course. Need to make a vote, so Jack, let's call my phone.
So he's a good ambassador, it sounds like.
No, he's a good man, good man.
He's a good guy.
I guess, now it's just for us to do some research, make some phone calls. I'm gonna call some other counties tonight. I'm gonna call some of your customers. Look at what we have there, and then tomorrow.
We appreciate that.
Make it the best decision we can make.
Thank you for the time and energy and interest. We know that, I can tell you.
It's hard to defeat an incumbent, that's, then, you have someone, you have not had problems, not having your slates and fielded, but we always need to, to just say we're gonna just automatically renew.
Yeah, by the way, we have no complaints pending. Since you said complaints.
Yeah.
So, you can't serve 1 million people and not get complaints.
I understand.
So we do get a few. I won't run from that, but we don't have any currently pending, haven't had any live. So, and that's including putting 550,000 customers back to safety. I think one filing through that whole process. So we get paying attention to detail. So thank you.
Good.
I want to tell you how much I enjoyed just sitting in on your meeting. Just to do that for a living too. And it's really, I don't think the average person realizes
We haven't seen nothing yet. She got
What?
the full taste.
Yeah.
what it takes to give
Oh.
them all
Yeah,
of
you
the-
gotta
I've
taste
heard,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm coming
You got a front row
tomorrow.
seat.
I'm coming tomorrow. I'm not sitting in the front row anymore. That was uncomfortable.
I know, I didn't say much. I'm pretty new to the organization, Ross McDonald. I've been with the organization for 3 months and I'm really proud to work for them. I can say that sort of almost as a neutral party, I think. I know I work for them, but I've been with the organization now for 3 months. I've had a chance to evaluate what other aggregators do in this space. And there's no one that even comes close to what we do in terms of member benefits back to the community. So we just got a community down south in Richland County near Mansfield, Madison Township. And we were able to, on an emergency basis, get them their early sign up bonus to fix a garage door at their road department. One of their workers was backing up and he clipped the top of the garage door, ripped the garage door all up. And so here they're paying, to heat the outdoors essentially. And so, those are the kind of things that we can provide immediate relief in that case. I want to commend you all for being, I guess, adamant about a 14-month. I think that's a very wise move just to kind of buy a little bit of time and see where the market goes. So well done on that, gentlemen. We would love to work with the county. We think Trumbull County would be a wonderful member to our aggregation, and we'd love to see that happen if it can happen.
And as you know, here in Trumbull County, we don't have offices, we have locker rooms. So we come in tomorrow
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the ring, into the arena
Yes.
with the gladiators, and whatever happens, happens.
Do you
I can't
cut
tell
a
what's gonna happen.
promo before you walk out?
Pretty much. We have an ring announcer, we've got
Yeah.
security, we've got
Yeah.
the judges, so.
Yeah.
I can't, I don't know what's gonna happen. We're gonna do our research and we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
If we're not trying to say what you did with Buckeye or what you have been doing with Buckeye is bad, it's not.
No.
It's a different approach. That's all it is. You're just looking at, that model versus the NOPEC model. It's just a different way.
I like the nonprofit part. There's different things that we'd like all of it. And what bottom line is the voters, the citizens, the people out there, what is gonna be the easiest for them to feel comfortable that they're not getting screwed by government on interfering with their utility rates. And like I said, I saw it when people that weren't in it were paying 14. I get a phone call from my sister. She just moved to Vienna. She called me. She's like, my electric bill was like $500. They just moved in. They got a barn and this and that. And I said, what are you paying on that? It was 14 something. I'm like, whoa. You got to call, Energy Harbor. What they called? So they typed it in, went online, not eligible at this address.
Right.
So then I called the township trustee. He said, yeah, we got some dead spots here, blah, blah, blah. It is a service. And she had to go online basically. And there's places online where you could pick 8, 9, 10 different people you can try. She found one for $877, where the rest of the counties at 4.5, 4.3. She got in at 8.7. She was happier now in at 8 because she was at 14 something.
Yeah.
So it saved her bill, 40% off her next bill. But the average resident out there shouldn't have to jump through that many hoops. And we shouldn't have one person on one side of the street using the same amount of electricity, paying 200, and their neighbor across the street's paying 100.
Yeah.
We got to do what we can to make sure everybody's under the blanket of we're all paying the same, or we're all sharing in the savings of whatever we do with this, because that's just not right. If somebody doesn't have a good manager of their funds, or they're too busy to price shop and do all the stuff.
Well, in your
That's our
scenario,
job.
in your scenario with your sister, as another thing, another benefit of NOPEC, we do every other month, we do refresh mailings. And what that means is anybody that moves in, they get a mailing within 2 months saying, here's the aggregation programs you can get in, instead of having to go and research that themselves. So we try and scoop those folks up that move in so that they don't go out there in the marketplace and get some kind of bad deal.
The other thing I would add to that is we probably have best in class, maybe in the country, approach to identifying customers. Most utilities, which is where you get your list from, are very sophisticated about the difference between all the political subdivisions. They just know that it's zip code, you give the zip code. There might be, especially a big township, right? There might be 20 communities in that thing, 5. So you gotta figure it out. So we have a proprietary system that we created in-house that marries every address and compares it to where they vote. And so we get through elections, we compare that, we can tell to a household what that service address political subdivision is. And as a result, we'll say we don't ever make a mistake because there's computers involved, people involved, and that means stuff happens. But we probably make fewer of those mistakes than anyone that we're aware of because it's really hard to make sure that eligible customers are they're eligible at the proper time. And the other side of that is we try to make sure that if you're eligible and you're not getting something that you shouldn't get or getting enrolled in something. In fact, we used to get more complaints on that than somebody saying that we should get in quicker. And those complaints have gone now completely away.
And my big worry is if we have to opt out and get in with another company, are they gonna think they're just getting a piece of junk mail in the mail? 'Cause it's another thing that looks like every other energy plan, every other credit card offer, whatever it is. I don't want people to get lost in the shuffle by changing from one to another. We're gonna look at that and see what's the ease of transition to make sure 100% of the people can get out and get in a new program without leaving 15% of them behind because they didn't read their mail.
Well, that's gonna happen whether you stay with your current person. Right, that's kind of endemic with this problem. We try to make our mail appealing so people will open it and read it.
We also put, at least the first opt-out, we put your seal on it, if that's what you want, so that it does give it that kind of legitimacy. It says this is, this
Trumbull
is
County.
Trumbull County's program, and we hope to do that, so.
Yeah, that's
the
actually
news
very-
would obviously be a big part of this as well, getting the information out.
Ray, you got any questions? No. Let's.
I actually think cards.
Chris,
Yeah.
Mr. Bellish, we still out
I
there?
do, actually.
Maybe team gets your cards.
Commissioner, I just have a
And
question.
if you have-
Okay.
But I think you're asking the same questions we've been asking.
They are.
But I want to understand one thing, I want to spend some time, because I have to go, and it's really not my decision, but I think there's a commingling of the two programs, right? So we have the industrial side, not the industrial side, the facility side, and then we have the advocate side. Correct. Is there any way, and I'm just asking to inform the Board of Commissioners and we truly that those two sides don't have to be the same vendor, but yet could work together?
It can certainly be different.
And I'm
vendors.
asking,
Yeah, they
you
can
know-
certainly be different vendors.
Okay, so I
We,
hear,
we don't have any desire particularly to be in that space, but
Understood.
we've had commissioners and mayors or council people who said, we think it's fair that we get our stuff the same place we're asking.
Sure.
Get it from.
and I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way, I'm just.
And
wanna make
other
sure.
folks want to have their own problem. We have no desire to push that.
Okay.
However, if folks want it, we currently provide it at no markup from our vendor and no markup from us.
Yeah, so I heard you say that on the facility portion, so is that, am I correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then the last question is, I guess for both, really realistically, I want to be fair and just have explain to the commissioners, I hear this huge capacity increase in June. What, and we would be locked in for 14 months and not gonna talk about with either rate on both sides. How are you able to overcome that capacity spike? So how are you able to keep us in at a fixed rate? Or variable rate or whatever we're talking about, I don't wanna compare that, but how are you able to combat that? Because that June spike's gonna be huge, so how are you,
Yeah, that spike's gonna be about 20 to 25%.
that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And the price refresh review contemplates that addition,
Okay,
smooths it out, right? That's what everybody's offering.
okay,
And I unfortunately let the first offer leave my desk without recognizing that was a big deal. I thought it was. So as soon as I ran a number, I went, oh, God, that's a lot of money, right? So, but the answer is that is, and you're gonna see that.
and then what happens thereafter? So after that 14 months, I mean, let's be honest, I think we owe it to no matter what we do, commissioners, I think that you owe it to your community of 200,000 people that this spike is coming in June no matter what. We've heard it from
Right,
both.
but it doesn't matter if we sign up for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, the spike's happening because either way.
Yep.
They're not gonna give us that rate for 3 year
Well,
term.
that's why I was asking,
And
yeah.
we've never
That's
asked
why
that.
I was asking that.
We
And
know
it's
it's
not
gonna be
even
fair.
loyal. I mean,
Right.
you know.
Well,
so
here's
just wanna be
why,
fair.
here's why the 14 month makes sense. Why take it. Here's the answer for nobody. the end of that 14-month period, we're gonna have an anniversary on that anyhow for. Which is why.
Okay. And I think I heard the same.
We'll also know whether or not the federal folks are trying to have an impact on reducing upcoming capacity prices
Okay.
at work. If I had to bake a 3-year price today based on that, then probably I gotta go with assumptions that aren't pretty.
Yeah.
And everyone's hoping the assumptions will get combated a little bit because they can make the pipeline work a little better, truncate the permitting process. And to one of your things about Mr. Trump that he has done before is he's got rid of permitting processes. So he can't get rid of these permitting processes, but I'm guessing his administration will try to truncate them and eliminate some of that sting. So we'll know in about 6 to 8 months whether that's working as we start to price that forward, which is what we'll start doing. And we would be happy to share that knowledge with you. But that's why waiting makes some sense.
So just to be clear, our renewal rate would be
For the 14 months.
after.
Oh, even after, okay.
And that would
Even the 3-year you suggested.
And that's why I wanted to ask that question. That's exactly what I was trying to understand. Okay.
yeah, so
That's what we were under in the past. It's written.
yeah, the entire time.
Okay.
Well, right, because the questions pertain to both. That's what we said. We bring you both in.
Perfect.
For the questions part.
Yeah. Perfect.
Not for debate, but just answer the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
No, that's all I had.
It's a good question.
Oh, Commissioners, Christie.
The same CCA. Yeah, is that CCA was in Poland.
I don't know that they are. They were sending emails. Yeah, I don't think there is.
Well, I can unmute the phones and they can speak with the room one.
You can do that. The last communication I got from them is they emailed the stuff in, their email stands as it was.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see them listed under that, so I don't know what their title would be on here.
Okay, and then never mind, we're good. Okay, I think we beat this thing enough. We'll do our research tonight.
Thank you very much for having
Thank you
us.
both.
Allowing us to-
I know there's a lot of work and effort into this, but you gotta understand we're representing.
Yeah.
250,000 people in the county.
By the way, you guys have I'm a former election director up in Lake County. You have a great board of elections. Stephanie and Andrea. They are, I think Andrea's still with them, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. You guys have a great board of elections. So congratulations. I used to be the director up in Lake County
Oh.
for about 9 years. So I know your world pretty well down here. And
They are wonderful.
Thank you. They are. Yeah, you guys should feel lucky that you've got some good.
I like the choice of music.
Commissioner?
Nice to meet you. Thank
Yep,
you.
ladies, Commissioner.
Commissioner.
And you're
I'm
HR,
Alex.
right?
Yeah,
Alex, nice to meet you. And you.
Chrissy.
Before we go, Mauro,
And Molly, nice to meet you. And our reporter.
Second.
Yeah, good to see you, sir.
Yes,
yes.
I'm sorry. That's always.
Is there any discussion on that motion?
No.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody.
Done. We're good.
Okay.
Done, thank you.
Can I be dismissed, please?